A few economic data points just coming through right now. We're getting Canadian PPI numbers month over month for October, 1.2%, coming through a little bit higher than expected there. 0.3% increase expected only on the month over month number. We're also getting the initial jobless claims week over week downside. Pretty big way there as well. 213,000 reported versus 224 was the expectations. Continuing claims back to the upside, 1.9 million versus 1.875 million. Expected there. Philly Fed Business Conditions Index, 56.6. The overall Fed CapEx Index, 24.9 there from the Philly Fed manufacturing side of things. Existing home sales to come this morning at 10 a.m. We'll also get the Conference Board's leading index on a month-over-month basis as we get going on a busy, what's turning into already a pretty busy morning here. Yeah, 1.85% here already back to the upside for NVIDIA. Not only is it green, but to the tune of almost 2% already, taking the entire market on its back here, dragging it back to positive territory and then some after being negative to start things off. We did have that nice bounce into the close yesterday, but going to be all about this report this morning for NVIDIA and tech in general after, yeah, you saw the board there. Pretty red right across the board to end things yesterday going into that earnings. I mean, when all was said and done, it was a bit of a nothing as far as price action was concerned. The numbers astronomical, I think, surprising no one. The forecast a little bit of a miss here, but already seeing, as I said, 2% here almost for NVIDIA.
It's unbelievable, Brendo. I mean, just to look at the breakdown of the revenue. So this company was making the majority of the revenue off video cards, GPUs for your computer. And so they brought in about $3.25 billion for that specific segment. Now, here's how much they actually brought in terms of revenue. $35 billion, of which $31 billion, Brendo, is advanced AI chips for these GPUs. So just kind of shows you how quickly they were able to grow their remote, how aggressively that was. So beautiful look. Revenue increased 94% year over year. What really catches my attention, what you and I were talking off camera about, was increasing gross margins. Yeah. If you're increasing gross margins, that means competitors aren't able to eat into your profits. There's usually a reason for that.
50% profit margin, just unbelievable. Meanwhile, oh yeah, here's Bitcoin. That right there is 100,000. So that's a daily chart right now. The March higher continues here. A mere 40% in November so far for Bitcoin. Lots to discuss, guys. Good morning.
You think? Wow, NVIDIA. It just hit an all-time high. All-time high on NVIDIA. If you were trying to dip by this stock, the aftermarket show was a great one. We had record viewers, and NVIDIA barely did anything. This is a real move in NVIDIA to the upside. And then now that you're all-time highs, okay, technically speaking, I guess all-time high is when it's after the open, but I don't care. That's an all-time high. Great trades alongside there, Sean. But I'm telling you, good companies get bought on dips. And you can say all you want about, maybe it's, the growth isn't as fast as it used to be. But if it's still getting bought on dips, then that's what matters. Margins are fantastic. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty with this one, but there's a host of things to talk about. We're going to probably get to 100,000 today or tomorrow on Bitcoin. We'll discuss Snowflake a little bit here, but wow. Good job in there on NVIDIA. I'm all smiles, man, because at the end of the day, we all own this one. We all own this bad boy, and you want to see the reaction after. There's no such thing as good or bad earnings. It's the reaction and what the market decides the following days afterwards. So if you're making some fresh highs and we're able to hold it, then it's irrelevant that the growth is slowing. It's still the best in the game.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. We put a video out a couple of weeks ago. You guys asked, and on Instagram you asked, what was the best stock? There's been many great stocks. I just said, stay the course. And I mean, it doesn't get, and I appreciate all the comments in the chat, it doesn't get much easier than this. I sat down, got a coffee with my guy Randy over here. I sat back down today and I logged in and I said, all right, well, this is a pretty obvious level right there, 146.50. So once it broke 146.50, we're off to the races. So that's where we got long there on NVIDIA. I'm out of about 45% of it, but we had a good move up there to 149. So a big, huge move right there. There was something else I wanted to mention. I can't remember. Oh, yeah. Thank you for the bananas.
Yeah, thanks, man.
There, Randy. But yeah, the bull market just continues to go
Still
higher
going.
and higher and higher. Oh yeah, I know what I wanted to do. This is actually a fun thing that my wife actually figured out about Instagram as I was showing this to Randy. Let me just refresh this. So, where is it? Oh no, it should be on my main page. All right, I'll have to find it for you unless it was a, post. Go to post. That's why. All right, so you could do this really just for fun. So I want to shout this out. So this is what you can do. You can ask ChatGPT. So everybody, if they open up ChatGPT right now and you type in here, maybe I can copy this and put this in the pit, and I can't. So you're supposed to ask it, based on what you know about me, draw a picture of what you think my life and I look like. So it's really super fun to do this. So if you do it, I'll keep it on here for a minute. So based on what you know about me, draw a picture of what you think my life might look like. You can pause, you can figure out all this. So this is for me, what it came up with. Go to @TraderTV Sean for fun stuff like this all the time. This is what it showed up for me. Here's baseball. So I coach baseball, sit on the couch a lot, I guess. Look at this. Sticky notes are right there. For some reason, I've been doing swimming a lot. It's right there. My daughter and I obviously playing. Desk. So I've asked it before, how long does it take to cook something in an air fryer? So there's an air fryer there. I've never asked it anything. I've zoomed in. I know, but there's like a picture of a dog on here or something. So I don't know exactly what that's supposed to mean, but I never asking it anything about beer. But at the end of the day, charting, baseball, I guess house, like park. I don't really, waterfalls. I don't know about everything here, but it's pretty interesting. So I think everybody should try to do that if you can. And then go over on Instagram and post yours. So go over @TraderTV Sean, post yours, what they came up with for you. So if we can get this link here in the chat, maybe I can get this over to Bears versus Bulls here, and we can get that going. Whoopsies, we can get that going for today.
Could it be Niagara Falls? Maybe you asked something about that.
You know what? I don't really. I just think it's just water, like landscaping.
Yeah.
I don't know, because the thing is,
everything else makes
like it has like it has so much access to everything.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not based on what you ask it or anything, but anyways, yeah, go over there and have a quick look and see what that does. But I wonder what it would do for you if you asked it that.
Oh, there'd be a heck of a lot of apple furnace in Star Wars.
You think so?
No. But seriously, what I engage with ChatGPT is so much market related.
Yeah, I mean, that's all that I do.
Yeah, it would be like 90% market related stuff, because I'm always asking it random questions that are generally something to do with the stock market. Every now and then I'll ask it like some random like sports trivia, or it's because we're talking about it.
Right.
But, yeah.
I would just say it doesn't have enough information to do it for him, so maybe you have to.
Are you giving? Well, this is our poll. Now we just put a poll up here. I guess it's Fabian. Are we okay giving AI all of your info?
Yes. I mean, it's just going to make my life better and easier, more efficient. I already selected yes.
I'm saying no. The answer all is never, out of sheer principle, never the answer all. No, because there's always something that I wouldn't.
We're already giving it 98%.
That's my whole point. Like, it's just like there's most of or a lot of is a very big difference. Yeah, I'm comfortable having. Of course,
we're about 98%.
Yeah, it's going to have a lot. It's going to have a lot, but there's always there's no such thing as ever. No. I'm a very, when it comes to that, just in a principle is priceless is one of my favorite terms out there, and I don't believe if you speak in 100% certainties, good for you. In things that are 100% certain, like my daughter's love, I'll speak in 100% certainties. Everything else is just probabilities. And it's just hyperbole to say 100% a lot of times when most people do.
Fabian is fixing it due to that, I guess.
No, everyone gives a bunch, but that's like... are
you okay giving 98% of your information to AI? And then we don't have to worry about that. And we can get that going. Yeah, I don't know, the poll closed, so we'll have to reopen it. So NVIDIA
73 was no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The 150 marker, so the all-time high, 149.77, for those of you asking. So we came close enough to that. 149.40 right there at all-time highs. So, yeah, is SoFi. Oh, SoFi's up that high again. This market just, honestly, man, the NASDAQ keeps on ripping, the ES is ripping. NVIDIA's going to put this whole market on its back. I have just NVIDIA written down right now. Like, I don't even know if I want to look at anything else today. There'll be other names, of course, but like Palo Alto, we don't really ever trade, but we'll talk about it. AMD is also catching some fire here as well. Probably Obi would trade Palo Alto. We can maybe find out what he's up to. But there's AMD there, 138 up to 139.50 and continuously going higher here. So yeah, it looks like they're all gonna. Let me see what's Broadcom doing. We're gonna get over all of this in a couple seconds because it's gonna be on our watch list. Yeah, Broadcom is starting to go. I chuckle, but let's have a quick look at Intel here, see what it's doing. Yeah, nice move up for Intel as well. Well, I mean, whatever, 10 cents, but still trying to catch it. Nice move, man. 26 back to 24 there. Intel could be a decent buy. Trying to hold. Yeah, SMCI had that news, right? They had $23 right there. Might be a good hold. Like Intel coming back into the 50-period moving average. I always feel like this is like a lot of garbage down there. I feel like these are good levels, 22 to 23. Anyways, all right. MSTR is $547. Is that would make sense if that's what someone just. Yes. Oh boy. Wow. I mean, so I was actually saying this. I actually got filled on some Ethereum at 33.50 there today. So Ethereum's finally starting to play a little bit of catch up here as the market goes northbound one more time here in the crypto space. So we just had a high of 98.3 or so in Bitcoin, up 7%. There goes Ethereum right now. So we talked about this with Satya and the Midday and Joe and us, Neil, all of us. We talked about Ethereum being a little bit of a lagger right now in the space, but yeah, starting to go one more time now, up 7. Solana up 3.5 is a nice number there. And some of the other ones are going to come out. We've talked about getting lighter on some of these names down there. Shiba Inu was interesting. That started to go. This is. You weren't here, but this is Obi's coin, the Doge coin.
He's all Doge, eh?
He's all Dogecoin. Oh, Dogecoin lost a spot there, Obi. My bad.
Dun, dun,
it was 6. He wanted it to take over Binance coin there. Yeah. That's pretty interesting. I wonder, we should put this in. You know what's a much better poll than that? Like, what would people rather have? Like Dogecoin right here or maybe Ripple, because they're both the same price. We will do this after. They have a lot of polls.
Do a few.
They have a lot of polls.
Give them more options. You got to make sure you have that Tron in there.
But look at MSTR.
It's on Bitcoin, baby.
MSTR is still going.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
All right.
Neil doesn't know about your bet with Obi, Sebastian says, and then he retracted it.
Someone has a bet with Obi?
No, I saw it. For a split second, I saw Sebastian put in the chat. I caught you, and he said, Neil doesn't know about your bet with Obi. What's the bet with Obi?
My bet?
That's a bet?
Oh, I told him it's not going to take over. It needed to double to take over Binance coin. So I just said, we don't really have a bet. It wasn't really a bet. It was just.
Yeah, I mean.
I was like, I didn't think that was going to be happening.
Double up on, anything can happen.
SM.
But remember, like, when Bitcoin does these moves, man, like, the alts will come, they'll go with it. But at some point, it's all about Bitcoin. And I do feel like you might see, like, when you get to 100,000, some of the alts might decide to back off a little bit if we slow down. But, I mean, who knows? Again.
You could have just bought SMCI at $19 a couple days ago.
So much. I mean, look, you could have had MicroStrategy.
Is XLE mooning?
Oh my goodness, you could have had MicroStrategy consolidating at like 350. Now it's $540, right?
And then here's another one. We just went over like some crypto. We went over some NVIDIA. We've talked about Walmart over the last couple days, so on and so forth. We've talked about some oil names. Here's XLE. We talked about this the last week. This is really, really starting to break out, it seems like right now. Thanks to Hamster for that. You're getting closer and closer to this 98.20 area where that's that high breaking out. So things starting to loop up here for oil. Oil, I thought today I saw was up couple points, right? Wasn't it up 2% or something today? Yeah, so there goes oil up 1.4% there to the upside. Yeah, XLM, that's funny. I do have some stellar lumens there. All right, so I don't know. We're long NVIDIA. Our best out there was 149, basically flat. As Neil mentioned, it gets up to 149.40. So we still have those imbalances coming through. We don't get to see NASDAQ imbalances till 925.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know, pretty flat. We talked about this with Sharif, right?
GameStop's going.
The implied move on NVIDIA was 8%.
Yeah, and you didn't get it.
The fact that you're only getting 2%. starting to ramp up again.
Even Palo Alto didn't do the expected move. It was only Snowflake that really did an outside move, go Snow. But GameStop is going.
29%.
So, hey, you know what? GameStop up 3 points. We're talking about this one for maybe a 30 break yesterday, but really, it just couldn't quite get there. We were long into it yesterday, but now you could see maybe that $30 move. Now, obviously, you have a lot of things flying around. We're talking about SoFi, the NASDAQ, let's be real. So there's a lot of exuberance. So let's see. You have 45 minutes till the open here. So a lot can happen, and you still have overhead resistance. I think this is just, like this last move in GameStop is just sympathy to everything that just got a bump when when NVIDIA started going. So you got to respect some of that. I think there's going to be some profit taking at the open, is my guess, especially when you see moves like this. I mean, we're just talking about Snowflake. Like, yeah, I think there's going to be some profit taking on Snowflake. I have an order myself that's going to get filled today on Snow.
We were just looking at a few things here as well. MSTR, I mean, Michael Saylor's happy. We were just saying, like, that MSTX, 30% to the upside, which is 2 times leveraged MSTR if you want even more fun today. So, yeah, good look for anything crypto related. I was just going through some other ones on this list in front of me here. SMCI, the guys mentioned as well, even Mara. 5th place right now on my my scanner here as far as gainers so far this morning. A lot of Chinese names to the downside. We didn't mention that off the top, but we got earnings from PDD, pretty ugly right now, 10.2%. Always good to understand, you know, if it does end up being a bit of a sell the news kind of event type day for the overall market, what is weak to start things off?
Well, this one definitely qualifies, Brendo. 10 to 5th in negative right now. So here's how they did. So they reported earnings. I'm talking about PDD, Pinduoduo, 44% year-over-year increase in revenue, but that was below what the market was expecting. Also, they increased net profit 61%, but again, it was a miss. They did previously caution in their August report that they would be encountering slowing revenue as a result of the EU investigating them over a potential sale of illegal products as well. The U.S. is chiming in on this, saying some product safety coming out of, or some of the shipments that are coming in from China not meeting or not up to muster, Brendo. So we'll have to keep an eye on this one.
Yeah, Baidu, another one here, 2.8%, not as bad, but also missing estimates. Forecast looks like a bit of a problem for them as well, back to 84 here. So some weakness, guys, across the Chinese ADR landscape.
Chinese ADRs, huh?
I mean, we can call Baidu weakness. Pinduoduo, maybe you got to give it another name here because, like we just showed, like pretty much everything else was just going up. Like everything. Like you saw it. I mean, oil was going up and everything crypto related. All the tech names were bouncing higher. Tesla had gone green. Like everything was looking good. Down 10%. This is not the environment you want to be missing on the top and bottom lines, especially when all of the Chinese ADRs after the stimulus bounce had given it back. And now you're filling in essentially the entirety of the gap on all the stimulus for PDD. Look, I don't think we'll necessarily see 110. I have a feeling like Target, like yesterday with Target, when we were looking for like a short the pop situation, and really the best price was if you had it really early in the pre-market on the initial pop was your best bet. I feel like that because the prior resistance here is that 110 area, and now you're already underneath 105. So it's going to be moving target time here for PDD. I don't know if we're going to get a shot at the 110, so I'm looking at the lower high off the open, which is in here just above the 106 level. But I'm thinking if it's underneath the 110 level, I'm looking for short setups. Could play like mean reversions on any pops, or it actually gets to the level. You can't be missing. And missing top bottom, already the Chinese names are under some pressure here. There's probably an SSR bounce in there somewhere, but my first look at the open will be like Target yesterday, looking for that short to pop.
So this is from Ramin there. Fabian and Ramin did this from their shared computer over there, and they asked ChatGPT. And so as you can see, it's pretty much exactly right, I guess. Fabian's always hanging lights. He's doing stuff with the lights in the back. I mean, it's basically perfect, in my opinion. Here's Brendan right there. There's Adara. There's Sharif. Like, everybody's right here. You know, I'm not sure who this dude is, but, you know, this guy's outside. I got some video games there.
Michael Noss's brother.
You know, yeah, this is Michael Noss, actually. Yeah, you're right, exactly. So, right there. What the hell is this? This is some kind of a cronut or something? I don't know what that is.
No, it's a walnut.
Walnut?
Isn't it?
Nah, I don't know. It's not definitely not a walnut. I think it's a croissant. Or yeah, it could be a Timbit, but anyways. So yeah, look, one of the best things I've done in a hell of a long time was getting out of Alibaba, and somehow at 117.50, I'll never forget that, because in the very next day I was going to the downside. Then it started to come back up and gave an opportunity to get out again at 118, and then it just came back falling through. So this was a name that a lot of us had bought down here, and it might be coming into another buy zone. So I just want to say, like, into 82, 83, this is the only Chinese name that I would buy. It's the only one that I've ever really looked into, and it's the only one that I've ever owned. So I'm probably not up on it over my lifetime, because we were buying this name for a long time. But we were able to make some good money here, buying it into these 70s, finding these bases. And that's the kind of trading that I like to do. So that's what we've been doing. And then when it ran into, again, a past support up here, or resistance back to two Januaries ago, actually. That's where, once we saw that dip down in, we were able to get out of it. So I really like Alibaba down here. I don't really like it, sorry. I like it down here, and I think if you're gonna buy it back, now might be the time. I've deployed the capital elsewhere, but for right now, Alibaba's pretty much a sinking ship, as is all of China, in my opinion. So just, I'm gonna stay away. Like, I got influenced too much, probably by Brian and other things like that. Make money and get away from China is sort of what I've been doing. So we'll wait to see if it does rally. I still do have some shares and would like to buy it down there at the 200 period moving average. Okay, are we ready to go to the screen? All right, guess who's back? Back again. Adara is back. Get some upgrades and downgrades.
Muted.
You're muted. You are muted. That's what.
Let's get back.
Upgrades and downgrades, really stacked list on both sides. On holdings here, ON with the Raymond James upgrade. Palo Alto to the downside after its earnings, but getting an upgrade from Rosenblatt. Some other positive analyst notes on this name as well. NVIDIA, another earnings day one name here with a Needham upgrade, and Snowflake also riding that earnings day one high. There's a lot of them today. This one here getting an upgrade from Moness, Crespi, and Hart, and up more than 20% so far this morning. Now on the downgrade side of things, Shopify here, basically flat on the day, but getting a downgrade from DZ Bank. Walmart here after its earnings, getting this downgrade from DZ Bank as well. XPeng with a downgrade from Goldman Sachs, and Ulta Beauty getting downgraded by William Blair, guys.
DZ Bank getting their hate on. Okay, I see what's up with
DZ Bank.
You know what though? Like, Shopify's been pulling back a little bit here. Oh my, that is a big ass.
When did those come in? That's from, who's that from? Oh, the caterers?
Those are huge. Those are ridiculous.
You're grabbing the raisin ones?
Oh, I'm an oatmeal raisin guy.
Yeah. Wow.
Casually. No,
Maybe a coffee, Randy. Maybe a coffee. I need to need to get going there. I can't. I mean, that's
It's like a 500 calorie cookie.
I love oatmeal cookies.
I mean, I'm gonna eat it anyway.
Oatmeal cookies is.
Oh my goodness. That's what. Yeah. That's what sometimes we'll do on the
definitely
weekend.
like those oatmeal.
Simple oatmeal raisin and then oatmeal chocolate chip. Keep it simple. My daughter likes the chocolate chip. I like the raisins. The win-win scenario. I don't like this Shopify downgrade, and I haven't looked at the stock in a while. I didn't realize it's been slowly and steadily giving back after the big earnings bounce. So, yeah, like looking at this, like the level that was holding on Shop at 106 since the report broke consolidation, literally just this week. So, yeah, the 106 looks like a bit of a resistance level there. Unfortunately, I don't really like that on Shopify, because if you just start filling in the rest of that gap, it's a pretty large one. It needs to get back above the 106. I mean, like everything else, it's been performing in a general sense really well. But yeah, didn't realize that it lost support since earnings. I mean, if it were to try to fill in that gap, I think it'd be a good place to buy. But yeah, a little surprised to see that Shopify hadn't been doing as well as I thought.
Yeah, so for me, on that list was Walmart, right? And I think in Walmart's, we talked about this yesterday. You know, you want to diversify a little bit, get into the retail space. It's Walmart, it's Costco, it's Amazon. I don't have Walmart, I have the other two. This name continues, obviously, to make new highs. It seems like every day. Yesterday, it didn't even. I was talking about it catching some of that shrapnel there from Target. It didn't catch anything, man. I mean, it went to the downside. It caught a little bit of a cold, and then it was recovered right away, right? Had that vitamin C and was bang right back into it, some echinacea, and which they probably sell a whole crap load of it at Walmart. Anyways, nice move to the upside there, closing at the day's high, and then you come in today, and now you're flirting with some of these levels from days past. So I don't think you're going to get up. Well, I mean, you could. So that's 88.50. Let me just see what that looks like on the 20-minute chart here. Sorry, the 5-minute, get a better look. Yeah, so 88.50 right there. So we're going to open up in and around this area. This is probably a decent long now. 87.50 on Walmart, breaking a bit higher. Yeah, I could go for that. Problem is that today's going to be very, very tech focused. So you might have to sort of wait for this name to get going. But I think that Walmart up here at 87.50 seems like a good break long to me. Everything's working in the space, continues to catch it. Day 3 play, I guess. That's probably stretching it, but at the end of the day, man, money needs to come into this market, and it's already come into Walmart. Tech's going to be big today, but I like that. I don't know why it caught that downgrade. So, well, I mean, it's up on the board, but
yeah, it's weird.
It's not down on the downgrade. So I like it. 87.50 for Walmart.
I just saw SMCI pop up here in front of me. Didn't really do much. Got to 28 there, a little bit of a pullback for that. We'll talk about that coming up here in the rundown once we get going. Banks with a little bit of strength pre-market as well. There's Wells Fargo. These have been relatively weak all week. JP Morgan as well, also looking a little bit better this morning after a pretty rough day, not only yesterday, but the past couple of days. So I was just going to double check on the dollar, but I mean, it's been absolutely skyrocketing the past couple of weeks, but good for rates.
Yep.
Not necessarily good for banks.
No, not necessarily, Brendo. To build on your point with banks, so they've been running up really aggressively since the November 5th election as a result of the possible deregulation that could come with respect to capital requirements, with respect to acquisitions. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Personally, I'm holding XLF in my account, so keeping a close eye on that. Wells Fargo, after reporting in mid-November, really hasn't given up much of the move here, Fabian, up into that 74, knocking the door 75. So it's been a really good look for some of these banks, Brendo, since the election.
Yeah, here's the 10-year, as I was mentioning, coming off a little bit so far today. Thank you. Red so far today after bouncing back a little bit yesterday. But yeah, I mean, we're holding top end of the range for yields across the board. The dollar, same story, holding top end of the range. But what a move this has been. Back higher. Let's have a look at the overall market here as we get going into everything else you need to know. 59.38,
guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on the ES December contract. We're above that 59.50, which we've been actually using as resistance since the 19th. So nice to take out that level. Now it's kind of a bit of a gap between where we're trading and that 6,000 point area. So I'm going to say 59.50 as support, 6,000 as resistance.
If you haven't done so yet, make sure you jump down to the description of this video. Top link in the description is for the watch list. All you need is an email address. You get everything you need to know in one neat little package delivered right to your inbox every single day. If you haven't done so, it's absolutely free. So grab that. Why not? NVIDIA 1.3% right now. I want to say, first off, thank you for everyone who joined after the close yesterday. Absolutely monstrous numbers on viewership. So please, yeah, don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't done so. If anyone's joining back again this morning, welcome. We do this every single day the market is open. 1.3, as I mentioned there for NVIDIA, coming back into 148, 147.5. I was saying to Sharif as we were off camera there, every minute or so, there was another analyst note that was popping into the news feed here with a positive price target increase or maintain type of language on it. So, I mean, there's basically any analyst you can think of has a positive outlook here for NVIDIA.
Imagine being a money manager, Brendo, or an analyst and having a negative rating on NVIDIA or not being involved in it. Yeah, you're trying to hold on to your job right now. So it's a bit of a tougher look. Let's talk, I already talked about how they did on the top and bottom line. Let's talk about how they're doing with Blackwell, because that's the next step here. So Blackwell production at full capacity with shipments expected to exceed the initial forecast. Here's the other look. They gave, I should say, Microsoft 13,000 of these Blackwells. Microsoft stringing them together, using them as samples, and is going to report back to NVIDIA, and hopefully that helps with the actual launch. So we'll keep tabs on that. Sadly, though, supply is constrained despite the strong demand. Keep your eye out on TSMC, SK Hynix, obviously trading there in Korea, and Micron, Brendo, all key suppliers to NVIDIA.
I was just looking through some of these numbers to see where the high end of the range is right now. It's 220, it looks like, from what I can see. So 165 low end to 220 now on the top end, guys.
Yeah, and that's just the changes. I mean, that's probably, you're not even including all the analysts that would have already had this for over 200 or whatever, they would have had. Like, it's just, this isn't Tesla. Like, I was like, are there really people with a negative rating on NVIDIA? And it's when Tesla was going, people would talk about it being severely overvalued if you're talking about it as a car company. But NVIDIA is a different beast. Like, you're talking about a space where the growth and the spend has been tremendous. Everyone agrees it's going to stay there. And while you might have some deceleration in terms of how rapidly they're growing, I get it. When you have 200+% revenue growth, and you're not going to keep that up forever. But I mean, margins over 70% and 70% year-over-year growth is still ridiculous. I don't care what you're talking about. Will NVIDIA break 150 today? Whether it does or not, if it does, we're going to take a breakout trade on that one. I actually thought after the aftermarket show, which was wild, I was anticipating that we're going to get a real shot at some of the support levels from yesterday. And that's what it seemed like was going to be the case in here. And I'm just sort of talking about like this 143 where things settle down. You had the 140 and the 143. Those are all out in the wind, and you just got to be able to adjust when it goes. And now all of a sudden, you got to look at the 45 and the 46 and VWAP for NVIDIA. We said we should not sleep on some of the ancillary plays or some of the names that are just going to get a little bit of a drag from here. One of those, I guess MCI has its own thing, so I guess we'll talk about SMCI separately. But I think that's one of them. AMD up 1 point. If NVIDIA starts to give it up, AMD still has a monster resistance at 141.5. So if NVIDIA, let's play a scenario game here, NVIDIA breaks 150, long NVIDIA 150, and then it abjectly fails that breakout trade, and there's any chance to fade AMD at 141.5, like that would be the one that I go over to. But as far as NVIDIA goes, it's by the dip off VWAP and the 145. It's kind of like, that's the level I'm looking to now that we're gone from all of those that we saw in the aftermarket show. I'm just going to have to buy some dips. If the 150 break happens first, then it's a 150 breakout play. Just that simple for NVDA. Best company stays the best.
Look, I mean, NVIDIA, exactly what Neil said, it's just that simple. I mean, this break was the simplest break of them all. Mirror, mirror on the wall. What is the simplest trade of them all? It was this break right here of 146.50. So that's the break that I have. You can see it right there on the board. That was the highs that we couldn't break through yesterday despite the open. So like that was a great level there. Now we're starting to continuously hold the 148 and the 50-period moving average. So I do have another piece out to get out here at 149 because we've took out some pieces there and then hadn't really been able to break it. We broke it one time and came right back in. So let's see if we get a ramp up here into the open. But I mean, that was a great trade. So I feel like that's another good area to be supportive of the stock. And yeah, that's about that, right? So I don't know. I love the 150 break. The all-time high definitely gets broken. I mean, like Neil mentioned, of course, you never want to speak in certainties, but I'm pretty sure this thing breaks 150 today, right? I mean, there's going to be a lot of action here off the open. It's not even a moving day for NVIDIA. Like up 1.79. We've seen NVIDIA go up 2% on price target upgrades. All right, so like now they're showing you that not only do they have all of the demand, but like that number that they put out would have been north of 40 billion if they could have met all the supply, if they could have met all the demand, right? But unfortunately, I guess it was memory and things like that they're gonna have supply issues with. That's gonna get all figured out. And guess what? If they weren't able to ship it to you today, they'll ship it to you tomorrow. The demand is not going anywhere. I really like the stock. It's starting to obviously become way overweighted, but I mean, what are you supposed to do? It had a great ramp up. The charts still don't do that, eh? It had a great ramp up sort of into earnings there as we kept on touching the high. And then eventually now today, I think it's got it. So yeah, the juice is loose basically in this name. And I really like NVIDIA. It's going to be your number one idea on the sticky note.
All right, shout out to our friends over at Workhorse. Coming across in front of me right now, brand new press release from them. So they've retained BD Digital or Digital BD. my apologies, to investigate short selling activity in the stock. The CEO also reaffirming confidence with a share purchase at a 44% premium to the overall market. Their recent earnings, Worksport achieved a 581% year-over-year revenue growth in Q3 2024, reaching 3.12 million. Stephen Rossi, CEO, he's been on the show a couple times. He'll be back again. So shout out to our friends over at WKSP on the NASDAQ. Let's talk Snow, another one reporting earnings this morning. Not as much attention, obviously, being paid to anything else, really, quite frankly, that reported. But Snow, a nice move here.
Yeah, respectable move, Brando. 25% or thereabouts right now. They're reported EPS, bottom line, beating handily here, 20 cents, beating the estimates of 15. Revenue, nice, 942 million, exceeding that 900 million that they were looking at. Revenue growth in the 28% category or thereabouts. Net loss, though, boosted up a little bit from last year. They lost about $214 million on the quarter. This time, they lost about 325. So you wonder what's going on with costs there. Total customers, they continue to increase that about 10,600. So not really much to say badly other than the net loss.
Yeah, analysts agree with you on that. 5 or 6 here I'm seeing with either reiterating buy or maintaining overweight. Price target hikes right across the board here for SNOW.
Yeah, for the entirety of this month, like every time someone is given his guest us the question of when is this stock hitting the bottom, or is this stock, which is trending down, like a good buy? Examples, Boeing, a bunch of EV names, maybe 10 ETF, like the solar space. The answer is Moderna is an example. I always point to the Snowflake chart and say, it's much, in my opinion, or at least when I look at things, I like something to at least slow down, make a bottom, make a higher low. Obviously, after it broke the 50 period and held above the 50 period, it then held a higher low. That's what I want to see. And then you want to see it break back out. So to me, that was the spot to get into the swing. I'm ringing some register. I said yesterday, I'm ringing some register up here in front of this, the 160. Do that at the open. I already have an order in. But at the end of the day, like this is a stock that was $230, $240. And you're going back to earlier in the year, as you can see on the daily charts. So there's still a sizable gap to fill. I think when you get to 170 on this, you're probably running into a bit of a wall. That's going to be a bit of a bag hold kind of area that I would expect to see some selling on Snow. So I think there will be some profit taking now there's in the 160 to 170 range on Snowflake. And I usually like to look back to where the aftermarket had support levels. But that's so deep here on Snow that I just might not get into this thing. Like 150 and 154 would have been the dip buy levels, and it's going to require a lot of patience. If it just decides to continue trending, maybe there's a VWAP trade in there. But I feel like NVIDIA and the chips, and the crypto names are probably going to be it for me over Snow, and then Pinduoduo is going to be in play. So I feel like if it starts to fill in that gap, I'll just be so patiently waiting for it to get lower. I'm not going to chase the move on Snowflake up here, but I'm more than happy with the recent swing.
Just to talk about this quickly here with NVIDIA. So I do have an order right here at 148.98 or so to get a piece out because we are testing that 149 area one more time. Yeah, Snowflake's been a darling, man. I mean, I started investing in this similarly to a Palantir. It did have, I mean, we put way more money in Palantir, but it did have a rough go of it for a while in Snowflake, but now finally starting to get going again back up to the upside. I think this IPO pretty high still. So I should have, you know what, hold on a second. I'm going to use the ESIC
chart. We are way back.
Just to figure this out because I'm not even sure what price I'm in at. Hold on a second. If we go over to the weekly chart here for Snowflake, you're going to see what we're talking about. So it still has a huge move up. Like it is so low to where it is right now, right? So some past support areas right here, 127, 128. So obviously great levels to start to buy this name. It's a good thing it didn't miss, but that high of 237 was just back in February. So it does have a lot of room to run here on Snow. So pretty much everybody's going to be underwater on this name. I mean, there's going to be people that bought it, obviously, in the last couple of months that are going to be great. They might be selling out on this name as you approach the 50 period and break that through. So, yeah, I mean, a great name, a great buy, a great dip buy, obviously, into there, but still so much room to run on Snowflake. So probably probably worth a little bit of a hold, but yeah, up to 160, a huge move there for SNOW. I mean, some of these recent, IPOs in the last 3, 4, 5 years still have a long way to go. So we talked about Upstart and all that, but yeah, great move there. And we almost, I might just put something, well, you know what? I'm just going to keep it at 149. I mean, this is going to fill anyways. All right, it's 9:10. Let's go talk about Bitcoin.
BlackRock.
Oh.
No, the
IBIT?
Yeah. We were talking the other day about the options being open now for some of these Bitcoin-related ETFs. That's a big number. $1 billion in trading volume for BlackRock's IBIT. Coming off a little bit here this morning after the gap higher, but yeah, I mean, you were just saying, do we get to 100 before Thanksgiving? Do we get to 100 before the end of the week?
Yeah,
at
that's probably the better question. All right, guys, surpassing 98,000 for the first time. It's about 97.3 right now. Over $88 million in short positions got squeezed, liquidated within 24 hours after the price continued to move up. There's lots of different catalysts, obviously, with the election being one of them. And there's also the possible establishment of a national Bitcoin reserve in the Treasury Department, so we'll keep an eye on that. Historical trends, though, when Bitcoin does do this, it tends to either consolidate or continue upward. Seldomly does it actually retrace down. We're going to have to wait, though, for that 100,000 to get tested, if it gets tested, and see what happens there.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming. That's my prediction. Thoughts here, guys?
Obviously.
I mean, I don't know. Obi, when he was here, said maybe by the end of the year. I flipped it on its head and said, how would give us a week? And the thing is, there's no resistance up here, right? I mean, we've never been this high before in Bitcoin, right? So there's nothing there. Where did my Bitcoin chart go? I'm looking for it. I'll have to find it. But at the end of the day here, IBIT is going to be something that we're going to be looking at today. I really like the stock. I just wrote that down. The sticky note's now out. I just put down there that, hey, look, man, we're going to have to find the long setups. I don't know exactly where, because there's nothing. Like, you're gapping up here. There's nothing to talk about with IBIT. Like, what am I going to say? Oh, if this drops to 54, we're buying it? I mean, come on. Like, that's just easy day, right? So if that falls into here, we're buying it. I'm going to be buying it way before then. So the 200 period, again, maybe at $55 right now for IBIT. But yeah, 97 and change. And then finally, bang. I got filled on some Ethereum, so we talked about that. So I got a little piece out, like probably 5%, maybe not even that, out as this name's finally starting to go. What we can do is, but while I get the Bitcoin chart up, or probably we'll have it anyways, just to look here at some of these other names that are starting to go. So it's like we talked about that market cap yesterday was 3.2 trillion. So now you're starting to get grow on that. And I'm starting to look at that too as a major thing, because some of these bigger players are starting to become a little bit more stable, it seems like Solana's holding up at like 245. Like, okay. I unstaked a lot of ADA and a lot of Cardano, a lot of Solana, because I want to start to sell some of this as we continue to go higher, man. Binance coin just chilling out right now, but Ripple, what a huge move up to 113. This thing was chilling out at 40 cents for a hell of a long time. Dogecoin as well. So some of these moves continue to go higher. I would just say watch out for all that. What I'm trying to do is get out of some of the altcoins that I have and move it over to just to Bitcoin. So that was part of the reason for selling some Ethereum on the way up. I still think it can go. I mean, Ethereum's all-time high is 4,000, 4,100, something like that. So we're still 20% away from that from happening. So I think you do have a catch-up trade there. But like catch-up, sometimes you got to have some mustard,
That's so true. And look, I understand, like, all the people, some in the chat are like, oh, why don't you just look at BTC, not IBIT? Look, from a trading standpoint, the ETF, just for us here in a prop floor, that's the easiest thing to get in and out of.
Oh, there it is.
Going both directions. We do have Bitcoin on the platform. We can only go long it, however. But in terms of looking for levels, as I said, the gap fill is huge, down to 54. Yeah, well, I on any uptrend, prior resistance into support, I like it. So I'm definitely there for that. You do have just underneath 97, however, like 96.8, that area from 96.8 to 97, that I think if we get down there, looking to get in front of it, in front of the half, that's a good buy bounce spot. So if we do see something like that over here on BTC, then I'd look to strike on IBIT in particular. The other thing that I got on watch is, Mara's been squeezing, and some of the plays that you can make outside of Bitcoin, whether it's MSTR or some of the miners, in this case Mara, the last couple of days, they've been doing some outsized moves. So another double-digit move here on Mara. If we're taking out 100,000 on Bitcoin, I I'd like to think that Mara's breaking local resistance at that point, and there'd be a breakout above this $26 level. So if 100,000 goes, then I'm looking breakout on Mara. If we don't, and it's a dip buy situation, then much like waiting for that 96.8 area on BTC to strike, I'd do the same thing and look for dip buys in Mara. But I'm going to look at Bitcoin spot prices, and that local support level will have to come into play unless we're just breaking 100,000.
So right here, we are going to be, obviously right now we're $3 in the money on NVIDIA, because NVIDIA right now, everybody, congratulations to all, and to all not a good night because we're just waking up. NVIDIA right now 149.45, just took out the intraday high. We are now 30 cents away from all-time highs. So there goes that 150. Oh man, very, very exciting times around here. I have one more out at 149.70, just ahead of that all-time high, and then we'll hold it. Then I'll have exactly half left. So we'll have half left of this position if we get it out. We have 55% left right now, so it's not like we're going to wait for another piece there at 149.70 at the all-time high, and then it's let's ride. And like I said, man, there's the trade on NVIDIA, right? It was like, that's the one that we were looking for. I was looking at this all yesterday, was looking at it this morning, was looking at it on the way in, was looking at it when I got the coffee, was looking at it when I sat down, so punched along. So we talked about all of that. So I just wish it had happened in intraday, because then we would have had more shares. But at the end of the day, man, this will still be a big one. So let's just keep on hoping that NVIDIA can cross a little bit higher here, because we have the imbalances now in 10 minutes. That should influence, obviously, what this does. So we're happy to take a piece out there at 149. Let's see if we can get up to the highs again as we just stop at 149.50.
All right, let's go on to SMCI, still holding on to a nice gain here this morning, 7.25%. They have officially filed to regain compliance with the NASDAQ, as we mentioned a couple of days ago when they picked up this new auditing firm, that this was going to lead to this process being completed. So back in the good books, it would appear anyways for the time being.
Yeah, Ernst & Young out, BDO in, helping them submit a compliance plan, which they did submit on Monday, which gives them an extension to regain compliance. The end of that, or the expiration of that extension, your guess is as good as mine. Couldn't find it, but it does give them time to file their annual report, which ended, I should say, June 30th of this year, for a full year. So we'll keep waiting on that. But right now, the market liking it, up 7 1/3.
It's not going to hurt the fact that NVIDIA's growth is obviously going to be good. And the fundamental level for SMCI's business, right? Like, there's still a business here. And obviously, that's going to bode well for them. You know, you always root for it. Like, I don't root against any stock. It is what it is. So, like, I don't want these guys to get delisted. People are invested in it. You know, hope for the best, that there is no impropriety. That's all we can hope for. But as far as the trade goes, worth remembering that it did go down 10% yesterday, so it is short sell restricted on SMCI. I'm going to favor longs in a situation like that, obviously, in a situation like that. You know, if NVIDIA is breaking out, which it seems like it wants to take out that 150, I just want to be looking for dip buy situations on SMCI. I don't really have any obvious breakout areas that aren't all the way up at 30. That's another 10% away. And that's like that big line. If it got to 30 and broke it out there, that's a great one. But when it's $2.50 away from that, got to look at something like a VWAP 27, yesterday's resistance off of the open. So that's what I'll have to look for first on SMCI. But I'm favoring longs on this. I'm going to be trying to buy dips, joining trend. $30, maybe that's more of a tomorrow or next week kind of thing for SMCI. But that's the big breakout level on SMCI. Today, we'll just look for the trend off of VWAP.
All right, I'm still trying to watch out for NVIDIA here, because I'm trying to figure out, like, how many shares do we actually want to punch through at 150? I mean, I wrote down here on the sticky note there today, just for everybody, it's out. Sorry about how long it took there. Was just trading and looking at other things, of course. But I just wrote down here, like, starting to pump, right? New green, it's 150 is that magnet. If we take it, we got to slam the long, but it might initially pull back. So then it's like, but what share size is appropriate? You gotta take the right amount of share size to hold the possible pullback. So what I was trying to think about here on NVIDIA was, like, you know, there's going to be a lot of people that have 150 calls. There's going to be people that have 150 puts. There's going to be different actionable areas where we go now, because this is just, again, it's still a volatility crush because it's not moving as much as it maybe possibly could have. Last earnings report was 6%. This one's only 2%. So there it is. Now it's starting to fall out a little bit. So we didn't get that 149.70 area. It still could easily come in. We have now 5 minutes until that happens. But I think like if it takes that 150, 147 there to hold it back to $3. I mean, I think if you get a 150 break, you probably take something out at 151, and then after that, sky's the limit. So we'll see where VWAP is at that time. I think a $3 give is probably a little bit too much, but definitely $2. If it breaks 150, you got to get out probably at a 148 or something like that. And again, it's all going to be very, very share size dependent. But for me, I'm not going to slam that level and then hold it all the way back down. You lose your whole month. So we're going to figure that out. But NVIDIA right now on my mind, not so much SMCI.
All right, let's go on to PanW, trying to bounce back here with the overall market. It came back into 380, held nicely actually. On the way back higher, we had two-way action here, as Neil was mentioning after the close last night. There's a ton of analysts with opinions on this one this morning as well after the earnings report. Most of them, the majority, to the upside as well. So 2.5%, not bad here.
It was a beat on the top and bottom line, Brenda. What really sent this one going down was the guide. Really, why? Because they want to hear about the deals that they're closing, especially in light of the exodus out of, CrowdStrike. So they wanted to see, did you acquire new clients because of weakness in others? And that wasn't readily, apparent. From the earnings report, but like you said, multiple upgrades today in the 445s, 450s, so we'll have to see how this one trades.
Yeah, not a lot of volume behind it at this point, but tension elsewhere, as we've been saying.
Yeah, it's a great long-term stock. I mean, I love PanW, Palo Alto. It's a big holding for myself. And recently, I was mentioning, CrowdStrike had, of course, as Sharif was just talking about, maybe it wasn't a mass exodus, and you would have liked to see that for PanW, but CrowdStrike did fill in a lot of the gap since they had their issues. And I took some profit on what was just a trade in in Crowd to try to get in on PanW. I was expecting maybe we'd get the 50-period moving average if there was any kind of weakness on the print. Probably should have just been sitting there. In the aftermarket, was not. But if there is a dip, I do like this stock off the 50, down in that 360 area. I don't know that we're going to get that today because they've already bought it up wholeheartedly, and you're above VWAP. So it might be a wait and see, give it a couple of days, and then decide where I want to get back into, not get back into it, I'm already in it, but take some of that money from Crowd and get it into PanW just so that I'm in the right place. I like just being in one spot. If I really like one best of breed over another, in this case I do for Palo Alto, then that's where I want to be. So I was kind of sheepishly hoping that it would hold closer to that 360 area. It has not, which is great for the stock. But this is sometimes a symptom of when you are running and rallying into highs and there's been all that exuberance, it's just been trending and trending up. It had already pulled back off of those highs. So it was in the midst of a healthy pullback. It wasn't a complete blowout and just a slight disappointment, I suppose. But yeah, a 50 period would be for sure a buy zone for me. I'm just not sure we get that today.
All right, it's going to happen right now. NVIDIA right now is breaking through. I mean, we didn't get that 70 fill, but it is right there right now. 149, the high. Well, the high is 149.70. Okay, so it ticked where we were sitting, and we did not get filled there. So we'll hopefully come back up there. 149.70 is the high. That's funny that we were sitting there, and that's the actual high. No worries, though. Huge movement upside for NVIDIA. Yeah, man, Palo Alto is one of those own, don't trade stocks. I don't even know when I started buying this name. I most recently was able to buy it on some of these misses and that big huge dip that happened there, and I was able to buy some CrowdStrike, and it was this one here on this dip back into the 200 period. I love stocks that are the best of breed stocks that are no-brainer trades. That when you drop into the 50-period moving average, we had John Deere, Caterpillar, lots of names like that had fallen right into here, and we were just buying them up. So I'm a huge tech investor, but also value as far as the best names you can find. Those are what I'm trying to buy. Sometimes they don't work out. You pay too much for it. Seeing choice Uber right now. We bought more long yesterday at 68.50 or maybe 69, something like that. I like this name again for a nice little drop into that 200 period. So yeah, trying to do a little bit with the most I have. And we're going to figure out what goes on here. But I like PanW. great report for them, and holding fort, right? I mean, it could always be better, but the fact is that you're not down huge. And then that's nice, 2.6%, nice little drop off there, and then a hold of the 50-period moving average. So yeah, I think it's pretty good here. And moving forward, I think you should be buying the dips in cybersecurity names. We saw Cisco, Fortinet as well, FTNT. This might be one of the better plays. We'll have to wait to see what winds up happening with Fortinet, but look at this huge move that they've had from $80 up to 100 there on their earnings report, now trying to bounce just a little bit higher as well. So, all right, well, the imbalances are out, so I was just sort of delaying to see what was going on there. So let's go over here and find that out now. So basically a nothing burger right there. We have NVIDIA with a sell. So that's starting to hit the stock a little bit there. So I feel like once that disappears, 150 probably not even here at the open, so oh well for that one. Amazon with a sell as well, going to the downside right there, just a little tick lower there. We have that 210 area to look at for Amazon. Snowflake, wow, up 25%. That's going to be a bid, so watch out for a little bit of an early momentum to the upside and then possible fade after that. Apple's a level that I like. It's written on the sticky note up there at 230. We'll see if we can break that, but that's coming now with a sell. I said I like 228.50, but let's just slow our roll on that one. Buying dips will slow down because most of my attention is going to be over at NVIDIA. All right, are we going to go back to the desk, or are they?
Quickly, we got a super chat I wanted to get to first, because we got a super chat in here. Appreciate you, Mercenary Floridor? CLH, you just want to talk about sales. Appreciate that super chat. Hey, we just want you to like the show, and if you like the show, hit that like and hit that subscribe. But you know, we're here to talk about anything moving in the market. There was some news on Celsius recently about them possibly being a takeover target, but that was last week. And this is not, it hasn't been a good looking chart. And I'll say exactly what I said about Snow. I'm not trying to pick bottoms on anything. It's still trending down. This thing cannot hold that 50-period moving average. It's a little bit off of the lows, but if it can start to hold above the 50-period moving average, that's the place where I would look for the strike. Because when you get that curl, rather be in the trade when it's got the momentum going with it than trying to guess at where the bottom is going to be for something like a Celsius. On those imbalances, there was something. We already said Palantir. No, it was something else that was on that imbalance. Mara was a little bit bigger of a buy, but $250,000, now down to 170,000. So that's still going to be on watch. Everything crypto related, obviously, is going to be on watch. But anticipating that you could see a dip in Bitcoin, if we get to that 97,000 level, I want to look to be ready to strike on Mara and IBIT, whichever one shows me that curl and setup. But I think you got to watch out for spot Bitcoin prices for a lot of things. We've been asked about GME a lot today. Let's be real. GME wasn't doing much, and all of a sudden it's getting part of this exuberant rally. If we're flushing in Bitcoin, I know it doesn't make any sense, but I'm not going to be sitting around trying to buy something like a GameStop. If it's going to break 30, I want it breaking 30 with the momentum of everything else going on GameStop, just for an example, everybody, because this is a kind of day where if profit taking starts to come in, you've got to be patient buying dips. You know, like you've got to be willing to miss the trade to make the trade. If there is some kind of a dip on NVIDIA and it doesn't hold that 150, I mean, VWAP's no longer at 146, but it could get all the way, VWAP's at 147 now. So like you can get a pretty decent sized dip back. On IBIT, which is what we're going to look at for Bitcoin, yeah, if you get down to 54, for sure. Like I know I like that level, but if we get to 96.7, 96.8 on Bitcoin, maybe it's a 55. Maybe we're going to be 54.8. I just want to look for a mean revert because we're starting to get a bit of a pullback in these Bitcoin related names and everything in the crypto space. You want to be perched and ready, but I don't just want to catch falling knives. Look for that good mean reversion trade. And then the other thing worth watching, AMD on sympathy. AMD looked like it was going to be churning for 141.50, already pulling back pretty decently. I didn't see a sell imbalance on AMD, but that just dropped $1.20 when the imbalances came out, and I didn't even see it on the imbalance locator. It must have been maybe like 100,000 or so on way down there. But this is certainly a little bit weaker than NVIDIA. I feel like if NVIDIA fails 150, this is probably the one to be short, but I thought we'd be at 141.5.
Yeah, AMD. Yeah, we talked about that. Like AMD is just not going to be the same. But I feel like, the space is good. I mean, if demand is high, it's going to be high for everything, man. I mean, I'm surprised Meta's not. Well, Meta's actually up pretty decently at 570. I said that Meta could be the one that really is the biggest beneficiary of a big NVIDIA number. And I mean, and Meta's up with the market, so pretty flat relationship there. All right, with only 20 seconds left now, as we get running over there now, 20 seconds left. NVIDIA, they're still trying to make those highs, so I feel this is where I'm going to be looking. Dip buy opportunities, obviously an Apple down there at 228. I like that stock. I like Walmart here, trying to break 88. That could come through again, and then iBit, obviously on everybody's mind, and then Mara for a short possibly as well, depending on what that looks like. So we're going to get ready to rock and roll now with just under 5 seconds. We're long NVIDIA right here. Let's see if we get long through 152 and 1. All right, we are now open. So we're going to take an opportunity now to get something out here, as it looks like it might want to fade out a little bit. We'll let it go.
Whoa, what the?
Come over to the screen. I mean, if you want to. I think everybody just wants to maybe watch NVIDIA here, as it's posing 149 and change right now, trying to dance here, but really not that much action off the open, believe it or not. Just falls down 30 cents. So, okay, not much going on there. Apple is the one that looks like it wants to go. Apple was just at 228.50. We just put our bid at 228.25. That does not happen. We miss out on that one. I feel like a script order just fired off. No, it was NVIDIA. So there goes NVIDIA right now. We just get all that we wanted there, and now it's trying to break through 150. Will we get it? That's all that matters, the punch through here of NVIDIA. It's a $4 winner. We've got it, and there, now we've got it again. It's NVIDIA. It's trying to go. I don't know. You don't even know what the price is right now on NVIDIA. We are absolutely jacked right now. We've got this trade, baby. This is a big one right now for NVDA. Let's see how high can we fly. It's a nice $1 winner for your boy. And there it goes through 150, 151 and change. It's NVIDIA, and it's flying. This is the trade that we wanted, and boy, oh boy, do we got this one, Neil. Nice move through on NVIDIA. It's $1.50, but we're already long from 146.50. It's a banger of the day. It's NVIDIA. It's screaming right now. Yeah, I know, the quotes are horrible.
Yeah, so
there it goes. Nice move.
No, great move there. Like, it basically the plan, the 150 break, it took 151. I still can't, like, right now it's trading 152. Thank goodness. It just took the 152 level, just took some out there. I'm still holding on to a piece of it, but that was a wild break. I mean, you knew you got to fill, but I was,
boy.
I don't even understand how I got an 01 fill. It doesn't even make any sense.
Oh, man.
We were missing these breakouts.
Dude.
We're missing these breakouts by a ton the other day. So thank you very much, NVIDIA.
Thank you so much.
That's the best breakout fill I've ever seen.
Thank you.
I've never get an 01 fill on a level like that. You got to be
kidding.
kidding
Get
me.
braces.
You got to be kidding me.
Thank you, NVIDIA.
One time, it's all you need.
Hockey, paid for. There it goes, NVIDIA, man. This is what we're doing. Nice trade there. We just got a whole crap ton out up there. That was a monster move. We were just like boom, 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 because the quotes weren't the greatest, so I was just throwing crap out on the way up, and boom, 152, 153. It's all good. That was a great opportunity there. And not only that, man, we knew this was going to be the day. This is why the sticky note was so damn late coming out, because it was NVIDIA. It's all about NVIDIA. Go home. You're done for the day. It's 9:33. Congratulations to everybody out there. If you only needed one trade today, that was the trade, and that's a wrap. That's it. Like, we'll wait to see. Hopefully it continues to rip up, but look at the pullback now. Here it comes pulling right back in. So, yeah, man, NVIDIA, I just got a piece out there at 151. We still have a small piece of this trade. We'll see if it can get going back up there to the upside as we take another out and just let it settle down. We thought there would be a pullback. Maybe that's what it just was right there. So we'll have a third left of this trade. I'm going to get another piece out right now, and then we'll see what happens there. Another piece out at 151. So big trade alert there. We got long at 150.23s, it looks like, on that break. So pretty good opportunity right there. But here it comes pulling right back in. So, yeah, man, hopefully you got some out at the top. That was a really, really awesome opportunity. I'm glad that everybody was here. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I mean, this is what trading is all about.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. So every single even dollar at this point on NVIDIA, but remember, it's a blue sky setup, right? So 151, 152, 153, all that good stuff is going to be a play for us. Look, you're starting to pull back in here. If we lose 150 and we go parabolic downside, AMD is approaching that 141.5 zone. This would be the one I wanted to fade. Was just going over to iBit because, hey, I mean, other things were happening. Bitcoin's actually falling back a little bit here. So we're at 97. It was like 96.7, 96 half was kind of that buy zone area for Bitcoin. If it can hold that as a bid, that's what I want to respect. SMCI obviously went up because NVIDIA went up. Let's be real, everything did. NVIDIA just cranked back.
Yep.
Well, easy come, easy go. I'm out looking for VWAP. Because if it loses 150, all-time high break, I'm waiting for it to get back into some support levels in there.
Yeah, 148.
So a breakout like that, like I usually put it just underneath the break even. I might give it more room on the initial break, but once you've already gone $1, $2, $3, it's not holding it against me $2. You see how I roll, man. It's in, it's out. That's a breakout trade for me every single time. Lock in that profit. Now, if it can get back into 146 and it can catch a bid, that's a different story. But as quickly as that happened, AMD, oh, really? AMD still at 139.5? All right, time to get a taste. See if we can get a taste of this back into the prior high. I kind of thought you'd be closer to the 141 there on AMD.
Everybody has to remember, like with NVIDIA, I mean, you know, the initial move yesterday was down. You know, so you're going to, you could definitely catch some fades up there at all-time highs. I mean, that was a pretty violent candle, right? I mean, we had some big movements there on NVIDIA straight back to the upside. So now I'm looking at 146. Like if that breaks again down there, we just took a reload right now at 149. So we'll have to give it a second to see. Like I said, we have about less than half the shares, obviously, that we had in the initial spot, plus this little reload. So let's give it a little bit of time here. We're long at 150. We talked about how much we had to give this in the room that we had to give it. So let's try to do that. And hey, man, if it continues to go down, the Bears and the Bulls would have won. This is why I was like at 932. That's it. You're done. You don't need to have all of these trades every single day. Oh, by the way, Apple right now just falls into 228. So we'll see. The market is really bleeding right now. So the short looks like it wants to continue to work here. Watch out for this 228 because I don't want to be long Apple and NVIDIA. I mean, if NVIDIA really wants to drop out, we'll have to get away from that one. But right now it's Apple long at 228. It's the price that we like. So we'll try to give it a little bit of room. Adara is back. So let's go see what she is up to.
It's off the open for small cap name here, WORX. SC Works is the name of the company. Much like SMCI, they actually have a bit of a NASDAQ compliance update. This company announcing here they've regained NASDAQ compliance specifically with regards to its reporting period. So good look here or periodic reporting. So good look for WORX, which does have a market cap of around $3 million and a float of about 1.5 million shares. Also, NVIDIA is not the only name moving on day one earnings. Palo Alto Networks, so PANW, and Snowflake, SNOW, both pushing higher here in day one as well. And if you're looking for something to trade like NVIDIA that's a bit less expensive, seeing lots of volume this morning on NVDL as well, guys.
I was just saying, Deshaun, what I needed was something that coded NVIDIA breaks 150 back in, or maybe the 149.75, that would have just punched me short in AMD. Because obviously, like, I'll slap the fail on myself because I very clearly did not get the short into AMD. It is what it is. But, everyone's going to have their own style of trade. I tried to get it in there manually, and obviously it didn't work. Look, if we get down, and there's still no curl. Remember I said if we dip on this, no, I don't want to catch a falling knife. I got to see something set up, especially with a high break like that or a fail break. And I cannot believe Snowflake.
It's going to run 146.
Yeah, look, now you're 166 here on Snowflake.
Wow, that's good.
170 is a big level on this. Now, I've already rang the register on my personal account. I told you guys this was going to happen. I was planning on taking it out at that 160 level, so I had an open order in for a third on my personal account. It is what it is. I just can't believe it's going to see the 170 with the market pulling back like this. Now, I would have thought for sure we pull back in the market, Snowflake, they'd be taking profits on it. Now you're getting a little bit of a curl off that 146 level on NVIDIA, looking like we're getting some buying starting to come in here.
Yeah, we're going to go to there in a minute whenever we get that notice. But we just bounced off that 146.50 area again, so we're holding this at 149. I think it's going to take that 146. There's just so much buying pressure right now, or selling pressure, sorry. Here comes NVIDIA. It just tried to go again through 147 there and stopped. So it's at the 200 period. Looks like it wants to break. That's a definite out of this position. Just hopefully it triggers, which it should, on a break there of 146. I feel like it's going to really, here it comes. It's really, really going to flush. Or why did I feel like I got out earlier there than I needed to. Okay. Yeah, maybe the quotes, but there it goes. So we'll flush that down the toilet. There goes NVIDIA. Huge move to the downside, bringing everything down. The market was up 0.5%. Apple's now down to 227. We might have to switch our little look over there. I think this is a big move down though for NVIDIA, and I think it's I mean, it's at the levels that I like. I just, you know, this is that falling knife that you got to be very, very careful with. 144 and change maybe worth testing out, but huge move to the downside right now happening on NVIDIA. I'm going to try it there against 144, but for right now, it is that falling knife that sort of, again, it's kind of right back to where it was. I mean, we talked about the volatility being squeezed out of this today. So being down 1%, you know, it sucks because we were up 2% and we had that 150 break, and then that 153 was huge. Don't tell me that we actually topped out at 153. I still think there's more to come on this name, but hey, you're going to have to wait for it. All right, Adara, what's up?
Another weak name, Mag 7 name here is going to be Google here. Alphabet down almost 4%. Of course, the market generally pretty weak here, but Google especially does have a catalyst this morning. DOJ basically saying that they would like Google to divest its Chrome or sell its Chrome business. So from what I'm reading, it's actually unlikely this would go through because any company that's big enough to buy it, for example, Amazon, would probably face some regulatory issues. So maybe a catch-22, but regardless, the DOJ looking for a divestment of Chrome from Alphabet. And it's also worth noting that apparently they are also asking Google to potentially share their search data. It's going to be wild till we get any resolution from this, but potentially Google here with some, I guess, business decisions to be made there, according to the DOJ. GOOGL, sharply down, guys.
I'm never going to live that down, not having orders on PanW yesterday. If you like a stock for the dip buy, you got to put bids in. You can't get filled unless you put bids in. By the way, Pinduoduo got to 110 and curled right at 110. I got the reversion on in Pinduoduo here. I was short, well, I am short at 108.77 on the way back in, so we waited for 110. It just pulled back. We now got $1.50 in the money. I'm going to ring the register in front of VWAP here on Pinduoduo. And NVIDIA goes to 145 and now back to 147. Only 2 trades for me in NVIDIA. 150 break, and then wait for 145 to hold.
Great trade. NVIDIA now, PL number 1. That was just got absolutely not destroyed. We got hit on the downside, but oh boy, did we ever put that back on right now. NVIDIA, an absolute monster right now for the, I guess for the floor. I hope so. I don't know who's trading it behind us. But right now, there goes NVIDIA. It's a rifle to the upside. We're now $3 in the money right now. We've made back. So now I'm up double what we were down. So here we go. It's starting to go back up to the upside. Let's see if we can get a little bit more out. There's some more out at 147 and change. Can we get back upside? Let's just wait. The good thing is we were very, very patient. We got that 144.50 there, and we were patient on our way out. It's like my first out wasn't until 145.50. So normally we're trying to layer. All right, but what's been happening though right now is this. Apple has been really disappointing. I mean, you know, we'll be up on NVIDIA and up a lot. Well, it depends, I guess, where this goes. But there goes Apple right now, trying to suck away all those profits, man. We went 228, then we just tried 227. Both levels broke. So the market now at 20,650, we've seen this before now, and we're going to have to wait to see if it wants to hold. But right now for Apple, I like the stock. I thought that 230 was something. Good thing we didn't get punched long right there. But I guess you're coming into a spot now at 226.50. Maybe we'll have to be a little more patient and hold this if we get that level. But break of 227, we did get out. I'm going to put a little bit more on right now, noticing that 226.50 is really where we want to get it. So been lucky with that retracement back up there on NVIDIA. But for right now, let's see if Apple will give us something very, very similar. I'm going to get another piece out here on NVIDIA up at 146.90. Did we just get it? Yes, we did. So, yeah, hopefully this can scream back up to 150, and this will be a real special day. But, yeah, we've given some back here on AAPL. You know what I didn't
NASDAQ's headed right back in overnight lows. Just to talk about the overall market for a quick little second, everybody. The NASDAQ is right back in overnight support. I might have just said highs. Overnight support at 26, so 20,600 on the NASDAQ is starting to come into play here. Got some out in front of 107 on PDD, so we got the reversion. I got 103 as my out here. This stock is obviously, it was down 10%, so it has a decent chance to fill in the gap. We waited for the 110 level. I like what NVIDIA is starting to do here to get back to the upside. But I don't want to give up the notion on AMD. If we can't take VWAP on NVIDIA, how can AMD be good? That's the way I look at it. So as we get into VWAP here, my stop goes from underneath 144 to tightening it up because now it's gone a couple of bucks. Now if we lose 145, make a fresh low, I'm out of this thing. And I got to look over. I mean, AMD is so far removed from VWAP. NVIDIA just bounced $2. AMD's right back at the low of the day. Like if NVIDIA is going to go any further downside, it's going to be a red day for AMD. I don't think there's any question about it. Over in the space of crypto, just for everybody out there, I know it's not just NVIDIA that's moving, but really that was the two places I wanted to trade. We're not going to get this 54 dip. I left it in there on the off chance that you dipped into 54, but you're already back to VWAP on IBIT. You're already back over the 97,000 level. So you've made the curl here on IBIT. If we start trending to the upside, I want to look to join trend. I got Mara on the mind here. It's starting to hold above that 25 level. So still just two names that I'm in. And my goodness, Google. Yeah, I'm a little, like I know there was that news. I wasn't expecting 5 points on Google to the downside. Got to be honest with you.
I mean, that's why we talk about selling at the top, right? I mean, I sold some Google at 180, and we talked about that live on the show, so, all right. Let's go. Let's go, Apple. Oh, Apple. All right, so we bought that dip down there at 227. We talked about trying to support that level, and oh boy. Right now we're 350 in the money in total positions, but let's just wait to see if we can get it back going to the upside right now. So NVIDIA having problems up at 147. So let me put it, okay, first of all, Apple's really starting to go, so I'm going to get out something else right now on AAPL. We'll get something out in the 70s right there. We also have another offer in the 80s. It's this level right now. I'm going to take out another piece. Why not at 88? Okay, well, we just got ran over there. Having a problem getting through 147 for some reason. So look at all of these outs. We're going to look back and be like, why do we get out so many? But maybe we won't. And so I'm happy doing that. We only now have about a third again of what we had reloading this trade. So look, man, I mean, that was a great trade there. Averaging in at 149 was not good, but then we got a little bit out, and then eventually we broke that 146. So that's like $2 hit right there from $143 hit from 149 all the way to the downside. So we're up on NVIDIA right now. So it's all good, but looking to get a little bit more. I mean, I think we can take VWAP, but it's definitely struggling right now. It's giving me those feels of maybe getting out, but that's what you want. You want people to start to empty their clips a little bit so it does have room. Relieve pressure. Yeah, to run up, right? Pressure's busting pipes right now. And if you have the shares that we have, then you need to think about getting out. So I'm going to take some more out right there at 147.70. There's that pressure getting relieved. They're back up to the upside. So we'll take that opportunity. Look at that quick scalp right there. I mean, this is what we're doing. This is why I have to be on the stocks, man. Like a lot of the time, it's like, man, why aren't you covering more stocks? And it's like, honestly, my guy, I'm here to make money, here to entertain, here to show you guys opportunities. And part of the opportunity is that you have to be on the screen. So right now, we're watching out for NVIDIA. I mean, look at that quick scalp right there. Like that just went up to the 60s, right? So able to take a piece out because we saw it sort of ramp up. Now we'll wait to see if we can really get that explosion now to the upside for NVIDIA. Take out VWAP and get back at least, there it goes, get back to 149. Yeah, we can do that. It's coming out right now. So big time movement here on this name, NVIDIA to the moon, Neil.
Yeah, it's a moonshot.
Let's
and
go.
Look, you start to hold above VWAP. The other thing you've got going on here for NVIDIA is you like trapping trades, but anyone that's in the reversion trade, they're probably every single stop looking at that 148 to be the spot. And if we can hold above 148, I think it has a chance to get to that 150 level again. That's where I think you got to worry about a little bit of concern here. Again, everyone's going to have their own style of trading. If you want to go both ways, go both ways. I'm only looking long in NVIDIA, and if we fail here, I'm looking short over in AMD. PDD is still absolutely cruising. It just got to VWAP, and now we're consolidating under. If we lose VWAP, I think 103. If we hold VWAP, I'm out in front of 107. And I don't want to call a bottom on Google. That one's falling way too much. I keep looking at it, and I like Google in me is wanting to look for a low, but I'm not going to do it. It's just falling like a rock. I wasn't expecting that much of a drop. Tesla went green, and I don't want to forget about Tesla breaking out of its consolidation. And we mentioned this yesterday. It wasn't front of the mind today, but 350 is going to be in play if this market does a decent size reversion. So I'm only in two names here. IBIT is going, but it never gave us the dip buys that we wanted, so we were never going to chase that. Now, all of a sudden, that we're now 97.5, Mara is setting up for this 26 break. So, that could be the next play in there as Mara 26, although I just heard something in my ear about MSTR.
Oh, I don't even have that up. Oh my God,
shoot,
it's probably a good thing. All right, I don't even have Benzinga open, so I'll do that right now. But you know what, man? It might just be the more I can focus, the better it is, because we are really, really starting to go now. So there's some more outs, man. We got some more outs up there at 148.30s, as we talked about, that breaking a little bit longer. Now we have 80. So right now we're $5 right now in the money over everything now. So that's starting to really go. So far, so good here. It's too bad that we had lost there on Apple, but that's okay. We tried that 28. We got out there at 27.75. Now you're starting to run up there. It's a dollar club right now for Apple, as that's trying to go through 228 again right now. So if you're looking for trading, man, I mean, this is exactly what we're doing here today. I mean, what a great day to trade these two monster behemoths, both NVIDIA, and there it comes. Like, I was like, can we get to 149 again right now? Wow, this is just an absolute beast of, I mean, honestly, I just feel, you know, like we lost. Like, this was coming back in, man. But, you know, stay with the plan and then just stick with it and trust in the process. You know, like, not like Joel Embiid. But right here,
they're like last place.
Yeah, I think they're in last place. Yeah, and they have a huge payroll, and they made a mistake also, of course, with Paul George. You pay these guys too much money. This is what winds up happening. Yep. 148.50. We just got an out there. So it just fell off the 50-period moving average for NVIDIA. I'm going to take another out right here at 10s, and then we'll see. I do have another out at 148.50. I want to make sure that we hold something for the move up. Like, I know, I see you. Tesla's probably going. Everything's probably going. But honestly, man, you know where I just stay? I stay where this is. And right now, man, it's all about NVIDIA. And we'll look at other names. I think we're over to the screen, though. Are we going to Adara? All right.
Figure of MSTR dropping a little bit, though, to be clear, still up about 9% on the day. We have a post here from Citron Research saying that they've actually hedged a short position here in MSTR. They apparently believe that Bitcoin is still going to go up, so they're still bullish on Bitcoin, but they think basically that MSTR's volume has, quote, completely detached from the fundamentals of Bitcoin itself. So basically saying that because MSTR is trading separately from Bitcoin right now in terms of the level of exuberance, they're going to be short MSTR. So basically MSTR short report from Citron, guys.
Okay, so add them to, I mean, whatever. Like this, yeah, I don't mean to, no, I didn't mean it that way. Like, who cares? Obviously it matters.
Ouch.
No, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's just not the first time that we've heard the old MSTR short, long Bitcoin story. And while it might work temporarily, it's been hurting people, and that's been doing it. So it is what it is for MSTR. I still like that play in Bitcoin if we can get it, Mara breaking out through 26. We're not holding 97.5 right now, but I got the eyeballs here. This is VWAP coming in here on NVIDIA. I know, that came off so bad. This is VWAP trying to hold on NVIDIA, and this is AMD. Didn't quite get in there. I wanted to see this press VWAP, and then go, because when the market's making the bounce back, I want to be certain of that short trade. So it's the only name I'm looking for the short. PDD, we're still holding on to. Tesla is really getting close. It's just been three trades for me. Breakout NVIDIA, dip buy NVIDIA, short PDD. Tesla, we'll see if we get 350, but now it's starting to pull back. You could see maybe a VWAP trade here for Tesla on trend. 1.25 to the upside, looking pretty good. And yeah, what we're talking about for MSTR, oh, wow. There is an AX for MSTR. Now I have to wait for it to stop. I don't even know what that is. No, MSTR is going down on this news. So it isn't nothing. Like, this has been falling despite the fact that Bitcoin is holding up. Like, you're actually seeing some drop here in MSTR back to the 500 level. So I didn't mean to play it too lightly. It's just that that's not new news, that these short sellers like MSTR to the downside.
Okay, so I just want to refresh this. I got to make sure where my stops are all here, because we are pulling back just a little bit. The good thing that we got out when we were ringing those registers near the high side there of NVIDIA. We probably have about 15% left. I am willing to reload a little bit of this. We just got another piece out right there at 147.20. So again, we talked about all the problems at 148. Once we talked about it busting that pipe and getting back up to the upside right there. Actually, I'm noticing. All right, I'll take a very small piece right here, just because we are at the 200 period. But I was actually trying to wait for lower, 145.50, then 144.50. So these are like the prices that I really want to wait for. We'll put on a small, very, very small piece right here, changing our average price, though, because we were out of a lot of it. So we had about 15% left. We'll put on 5% more right now because we're at the 200 period moving average. But again, treating NVIDIA a little bit differently today because of the movements. that we've seen, obviously, with earnings. So, all right, Walmart right now, 85.60. We talked about wanting to get through $88. Looks like 87. I mean, how sweet was that? I still think 88 is going to be in play. We will take a small piece if it does break above 88. I also wrote down on the sticky note Mara 25.50 as a short. So again, like, you know, Bitcoin's going to be its own beast there. But here's the sticky note. Thank you again for everybody for checking it out. But right there, Mara 25.50. We like that short there. And yeah, it's now about 75 cents in the money on that 25.50 area. That came in right away off the open. And what a great short that was. The highest it ever got was 25.70. So there you go, man. 20 cents for $1. You had to hold it if you got it. But there's Mara. Thank me later, but don't thank me now because I don't have it. And hopefully you guys do off that sticky note play there for MARA. Yeah, nice movement there. Bitcoin as well gave you that. I heard Neil was talking about IBIT there. Bitcoin gave you that 55 dip, but it's coming back in right now. So that if you like those kind of dips, then it's coming back right here for IBIT. I'm still considering looking at Bitcoin. Too. I'm still really just obsessed with watching this NVIDIA right now. I feel like for me, this
price action's wild.
Yeah, this is where the best opportunities are right now for me. So I think we'll just sit here and see what we can do.
Well, what's crazy about it is, and this is exactly what happened at 150. Like, it lost 150 so fast, unless you had a stop order to get out. Like, forget about trying to get in manually. Same thing when NVIDIA lost VWAP. Like, the second it did that, if you were trying to short in on, like, AMD or anything, like, AMD dropped, like, 50 cents.
Right.
Like that. So, like, it's 9.55, but sometimes when you get in these moves, they're actually trading, like, the first 5 minutes at crucial levels. I am now out of Pinduoduo. I said I was going to trail it if it held on to VWAP, so that's what we did. Got to respect the fact that, hey, it's down a ton, and it's given up the entire move. A lot of these Chinese ADRs have given up the entirety of the majority of the move from the stimulus, so it could just be catching a relief bid. So we wanted short in front of the 110 level, wait for it to get the 110, play back into VWAP. If that's all we get, fine. Focus back over to NVIDIA and crypto, which I haven't even been in a crypto name. It's just been NVIDIA and PDD, to be honest with you. I've tried twice to get into the short on AMD and wasn't willing to chase it. So that's not going to be a play for me. Mara is... So there was a second ago, remember when I was like, Mara is about to break 26? Yeah, when I was half mocking that MSTR story, well, Mara dropped $1.20. So obviously it's not breaking 26 anymore. So that, like, the second they talked about that disconnection, Mara just pulled back heavy with Bitcoin pulling back $400. This is what Mara just did. So I don't like that long so much anymore on Mara after seeing that dump off here. Just going to play it very cautiously. And Snowflake, Gonzo, that 170 level starting to come into play. Now 30% up on Snowflake. When in doubt, zoom out. 170 is not a joke. 170 is where all of this mess started. Well, not all of it. The majority of the mess started for the back half of the year for it to make this bottoming pattern. So this is a big bag holding level at the 170 level. If I'm even thinking about a mean reversion, it's got to take the 170 first.
Okay, we're getting close to getting some more NVIDIA here at 145. Yeah, I mean, what a great trade there for Snowflake. Yeah, it's been a monster. All right, so 145, 50s coming in right now. Okay, here it comes, 145.55. So that's going to be our next reload area right now. So, all right, let's go over to the desk and see what Adair is all about.
It was brought to you by Military Metals. Donald J. Trump, during his first presidency, emphasized that a strong America must not depend on foreign adversaries for critical minerals essential to our nation's economic and military strength in the 21st century. Aligning with this vision, Military Metals is emerging as a global powerhouse in the antimony space, crucial for defense and military applications. With past producing assets in the US, Canada, and Europe, Military Metals is poised to secure these vital resources domestically. Don't wait too long. This story is heating up fast.
Okay.
Shout out to Military.
Yeah, get some Military Metals in your
baby.
portfolio, ASAP, I guess. All right, so... Yeah,
145 is trying to hold here pretty.
Yeah, so we have that trade. So we just bought some there more at 50s. That was the level that we wanted to get a little more in. So yeah, we did. And now it's holding. So yeah, I mean, so far so good. That was that next reload level was 145.50. And again, just kind of random here. If we go over to the chart, it was just I don't know, just how to look at this. I'm able to zoom in a little bit more. Just how to look at this kind of sort of level right there. That was 145. So, you know, to try to pick 50 cents out of the blue is pretty hard. We just got a piece out there at 146, I guess, right there on a little bit of a bump up, but we'll wait to see. We're still 75 cents in the money. No matter how you build the position, ours is going to show you what our average price is right at the time. So the only problem is as we get out, the price will start to change and then it goes first in, first out. So it's like that's the average price that we're currently holding. But anyways, at the end of the day, hopefully we'll be able to get this stock to go back up to the upside. I'm going to dump this if it breaks the lows. So like if it breaks 144, then it is gone. I mean, it was a huge move up there. And by the way, our Apple trade, I'll discuss that. That came all the way back in. Look at these futures trying to break through 20,600.
Wow, we're falling down.
We are falling down really nicely right now. So, I mean, there it is. Yesterday's levels was 20,500. So remember we had this talk yesterday, everybody? When the market started to go down, we were like, we still have that whole 100-handle gap that could fill between 20,006 to 20,005. So just be careful with all of that right now. All right, over to Adair. We've got numbers.
We just got here some existing home sales data coming out here for the month of October. Existing home sales slightly above here the previous print and the estimate. So 3.96 million home sales here in October versus estimates of 3.93. Here the forecast of 3.87 and then previous of 3.83. So coming in here above estimates and above the previous print. Also stronger than expected here is the month-over-month change for these existing home sales. So up 3.4% compared to a drop of 1.3% for the month of September and a forecast of 0.8% here. So again, above expectations here and above the previous print for existing home sales and the month-over-month change in those sales. We also got the CB leading index here month-over-month coming in a little bit higher than expected, negative 0.4% here. So, sorry, above the previous print here of negative 0.5%, but below the consensus of negative 0.3% and forecast of negative 0.1%. We're going to take a look here at this market, which continues to drop here. We have the Qs down about 0.5%, a little bit weaker here than what we're seeing with the S&P 500. Not a lot of economic data to look to for the rest of the day, though we do have comments from some Fed speakers later in the day, including Fed's Goolsbee and Fed's Hammock, both coming during that midday period. Google here potentially responsible for some of that drop here in the Qs, down about 5%. DOJ pressing them to sell their Chrome business there to kind of give up some of that monopoly. So GOOGL sharply to the downside. Sharply to the upside, though, Snowflake still near day's high here. PANW and NVIDIA also on watch here for day one earnings, but Snowflake here with an adjusted earnings beat, a sales beat, and raising their guidance here for fiscal 2025 revenue. So great look for Snowflake. Lots to look at here today on a very exciting week, guys.
All right.
Well,
the market
145
is
stopped
falling.
So yeah, the market's now falling. I still don't have an AMD short, but I took a reload in NVIDIA, but you know, my style's my style, man. Like it just could not hold on. The bid was there for a hot minute and was trying to break and hold above 146, and now it's just absolutely bleeding to the downside. The next look, this is gonna seem crazy, but method to madness. If the market is breaking the lows and Snowflake is at 170, this was the level for me on Snowflake. So at this point, if we break this mean reversion like trend line from this open, we're at the lows. I'm looking for the short underneath this reversion. It'll be right now it's like 168, but it could press 170 as well. You're now 144 on NVIDIA. I'm telling you, every time NVIDIA loses the bid, the algos are just like gobble, 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 gobble. Like if you tried, again, if you had something that could just say punch short on AMD when NVIDIA loses the bid, you're getting free money, but I think the algos are all over it. So you might have to take this one against you now that you're absolutely falling. And there's a lot going on here. I know we're not really talking about Alphabet, but over 5% to the downside. And I don't even know where you can catch a bid, but I looked over. The 200 period moving average on the daily is at $164 on Alphabet. I'll be hard-pressed not to look for some kind of a long setup down there on Google. But so far, so good. I mean, NVIDIA, weirdly enough, it was probably a better short than it was a long, but the long, thankfully, the breakout was a good one. But this market really continuing to bleed. 0.5% to the downside. Google's not helping at all.
No, Google's definitely no bueno there. All right, well, we are getting a little bit of a bounce back now in our friend NVIDIA. We did get stopped out something there at 144. We did buy it back, of course. Like, Oh, we always get stopped out on the most and then don't have it when it's the best. But here it comes right back up there. We're now $1 in the money on this trade. And we have a good amount of shares. Like everything is completely fine, but we did have more at one point down there. Well, we got out there. So our average price was 144.65 or something. We got out on the break. So look at this. This coming right back in. The bigger problem right now, really, is Apple. Like I said, we liked Apple 226. Like this to me is fine. Like it's right here, right now. So it looks like it wants to crank lower. It looks like it's going to happen today. And I really think that, yeah, probably Google and just what's been happening over on that side does not seem to be, that's 225.80 is what I'm looking at right here for Apple. So I got to change my stop because it's coming in right now. So that's 225.80, 225. That's pretty low to get out of this stock. But all right, here comes Apple right in. Did not expect this kind of a fall in here for AAPL. Didn't really have too many catalysts, but started the day sort of on the green side. And then now that the market just continues to fall down, Apple obviously having a way here downside. So 226.40s, we're long on Apple. Maybe try to get something out if we do get a bump back up, but it looks like it does want to take down that 226, bringing into that 225.80 coming into question right here on AAPL. So just watch out now, man. Looks like everything's fallen down right back into these lows, including our NVIDIA as well.
Yeah, the more you said, like sometimes this is what happens. Like it's a little bit of a trap zone. I think the trap was laid and probably a bit of an ignoring of what was happening in Google, which obviously was going to take things to the downside. And then that MSTR store really turned things around and everything crypto related. I've stayed away from it. But now Snowflake is back underneath the trend line. I mean, it's not a huge trend line. We're only talking about the first half an hour. But with the market reverting, Snowflake pulling back in, I tried to get, yeah, see, you can't even get, no, I thought I was going to get filled there. I was only able to get some of the shares I wanted at 168.31, and the rest of them I'll just have to cancel. It's already at 67. Playing for a mean reversion back into VWAP on Snow.
Whoa.
My stop would have been obviously usually up to like 169.5 or so. Now it's going to be close to break even now that it's back under. No. But just, again, that's a very specific setup. It had to get to 170 bucks. It helped that the market was going down. I almost don't know where to pick for NVIDIA as a bottom.
Oh, Apple just broke finally.
But
oh, damn, I don't think it...
This morning, I was like, hey, we're not going to get those levels of support from the aftermarket show. Well, $140 is where the bid came in initially. And then it was $143 where things settled down. So those are the only two places that make some sense to me here on NVIDIA. And again, just when you're watching the stock in the aftermarket, you can kind of see where things pick back up again. It was 140 and 143. So I think this is the next spot. So far, it's been okay picking spots, but this is now falling like an absolute rocket ship. Crypto's even making that move into the downside. Like Bitcoin is back underneath 97,000, everybody.
Yeah, this is getting to be pretty brutal here. So we only got out of 75% of everything on these breaks, but the market is not holding. Like, I think right at this point, it's like you're going to have to wait for that 20,500, I'm guessing, right now, because we are starting to really turn up here on a, we actually got, okay, so this is such a small position, so I put a little piece in here for Walmart. I didn't even realize we got punched into there, but this is also retracing back down as Walmart makes those highs. I'm not even concerned about this position. Obviously, it's this Apple one that's trying to hold out here at 226. So it broke once, and we got right back in, trying to give this one a little bit lower now, just to see if this market does want to retrace back to the upside. I feel like NVIDIA is such an easy trap, and that's kind of the problem, is like everybody wants the NVIDIA long. So it's like everybody's holding until like these, and we're going to get stopped out here at this ultimate low again of 143. But there it is. It's like at some point, people's sort of tolerance is going to lose, and it already has. Like if you're holding the bag here like I've been, we've been able to get out of NVIDIA. I'm more concerned about Apple, by the way, not NVIDIA. Apple's having this problem. But what I'm saying is like there's been no real relief rally in a lot of these names, especially Apple. So this one has been a problem down here at 226. So we're going to have to wait, and hopefully that one can sort itself out. NVIDIA is trying to hold, and it's been okay. But it's Apple that really needs to go if we're going to do something special here today. But for right now, let's get it going, first of all, with NVIDIA, and then we'll go over and see what Apple wants to do. But there goes NVIDIA a little bit.
Yeah, and just there's a couple questions in the chat here. Josh J, thoughts on Amazon above 200?
Go Apple. Like, what are you doing?
First thought is, hey, didn't even realize Amazon. We knew it was a down day today. After that reversal, didn't realize it got underneath the $200 level. You got to respect it. It's a big one. It's a prior high. But to me, like long setups, long trades are going to have some pretty solid setups. So it's a decent one. If I were looking at the setups that I like, generally speaking, I'd just be looking at a mean revert like this, and I'd be in, like right in here. But that's essentially what I'm looking to do over in NVIDIA. So I wouldn't want to do it in more than one place. That's all. You know, like NVIDIA's doing that same setup where you're now holding the 144. If you do it from VWAP, then it's broken the trend line. I think a lot of times if you look at the entire day one, this would be a little bit more reasonable. At this point, that high at 153. So I think it needs to hold here or at least break second trend to try to focus on NVIDIA. I'm just sticking with NVIDIA because it's the one that has the volume. And someone said, why don't you just go short NVIDIA?
Oh,
Look, it's a decent question.
It's a tough one.
And obviously, when it lost VWAP, I tried to get short in AMD, and had I just punched short in NVIDIA, maybe I would have had a chance to get it. So I can slap the fail on myself for that. But the plan was look for longs on NVIDIA today, and it's my best stock, and look for shorts in AMD, which in theory should have worked well because AMD was weaker in at least around that VWAP trade, but I just wasn't able to get an execution. Still in Snowflake, it's not doing much. Google still cannot find a bid, and it is absolutely tanking. But an MSTR, by the way, is now 480, but it's catching a little bit of a bid. I feel like if there's a relief rally on MSTR, low-hanging fruit, Mara probably does a bounce as well. So like Mara was cruising up until that MSTR note from Citron. So if you see a bounce, I think right now MSTR is leading. So if it's able to start going back up, should be able to catch something on Mara. But the only thing I'm in is that Snowflake mean reversion trade, looking for it to get down to 166. This thing is a beast, man. Like the market drops like a rock and this can't pull back more than a couple of dollars when it's up 30%. Probably should have maybe not got some out at 161.
Which stock? Oh, Snowflake? Yeah.
Oops.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's a ripper
It
there
happens,
for
though.
sure. Yeah. No, it happens for sure. I mean, I mean, look, Palantir's not in the same bucket, obviously, as Snowflake. But yeah, we were talking about getting some of those out at 48s, and then again at 58s, and then again there. I think we just got some out at 61 or something on Friday, whatever that price was, and that's even been a mistake now because Palantir gets as high as 65 right now, and so that's another name to watch out for here as the market just kind of goes back and forth a little bit. Apple can't get going. I just took a 12 there as an out. Like it's literally just trying to get less and less on this. I still want to hold it for the rip out, but we now have about 70% left of this reload down here at 226 because it's not going and the market's not bouncing. And you know, to take another L on Apple right now, it doesn't really. We did good there getting back in and out of NVIDIA. Like it just went upside again. This name is just not. So really this was the first, it wasn't really a mistake because we were up, but there's the punch long. Theirs was a good take. The problem was it didn't hold this 200 period and where we got out. But then we were able to, lucky enough, and it's kind of funny because there really is no capitulated volume bottom there at all for NVIDIA. So that's kind of a... All right, did I not just get some out of Apple there? Because Apple's going now, so I got to attend to this position just real quickly. Apple's starting to go upside now a little bit. Let's see if this market wants to go and give us a little bit of a treat now because it has not been kind to Apple yet. So I'm going to get a piece out there. We're waiting at 35s anyways, so we'll see if we can get that piece out, and then we'll wait a little bit higher into the 40s now. Okay, there it is. We'll take some more out of 35. So finally starting to go. All right, what I was talking about NVIDIA was it's kind of surprising that there wasn't a huge volume spike right there off the bottom. So yeah, anyways, we were able to catch that all the way back up. That was $4. You know, we were happy as you know what. And then all of a sudden, it just started falling back in again. So now let's wait and see if we can hold this. It really is starting to go. It's back into the money now, $1. We should want to take that. So we will take that out as here comes the whole market trying to run back upside right now. So damage has been done here for me on Apple. So we're going to have to wait now for a little bit of a pullback. I don't have any pending orders because we just got filled all the way up there. But I have higher expectations for Apple. Why not 227? We tried to hold it there, then we broke, so we'll take a 50 there again. But hopefully we can get back up to 227. That's going to be where I'm going to put a decent amount of shares. Hopefully we'll be able to fill it up in and around that 75 area. So that's going to be a play for me there on Apple as it's starting to run a little bit now. And there goes NVIDIA back upside as well. So, okay. Things are starting to work out for us, but at the same time, More patience, man. It's always the case, isn't it? More patience required.
Yeah, you know what? The markets just seem to need to run the stops at the overnight lows. So that's exactly what they did. That 20,600 ran the stops at the overnight lows, and now you're starting to catch a bit. I elected for the other version, not the tighter one, which would be in at 44. Instead, it was 44.5. I did add some in the 80s, so at a 75 price. We're going to go to Adara. I did get out of Snowflake on that last little bounce. It couldn't even get to VWAP, man. That stock is so strong. I did get out of it for $1, thinking it would do a little bit more. But let's go to the desk with Adara.
Beware of VSAT here, VSAT, this one making new day's highs with increasing volume here on this 15-minute chart. We do have some traders speculating online here that Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz has apparently purchased a stake in the company, though there's no evidence of this. So VSAT up here on speculation of a buy here from Representative Schultz. We do have a float here of about 97 million shares, so not particularly small, but a short float of just under 20%, so decent short float here for VSAT. It's worth noting we're still under 1 million shares traded as of right now, but again, that volume has been increasing every candle, guys.
Yes, sir. All right. And just very quickly to show everybody how strong this thing is.
Go Apple.
Snow, it was cruising into the downside. It looked like it was about to break down 167 into VWAP. But it just couldn't do it. Like the buying came in heavy once it was underneath 167, and I got trailed out. It ended up retracing the low eventually, but now it's right back at 68. So this stock is an absolute rocket ship on Snow. I don't want to fight it at all. So we are into NVIDIA on that mean reversion trade. I don't want to completely ignore what's going on in crypto for everybody. I mean, IBIT, Bitcoin, back into VWAP here, holding that 55. You're back at 97,000 exactly. So 55 quarter, 97,000. You're seeing MSTR here still doing its best for the mean reversion. So clearly it's broken the trend. I said I would like more if it did. I don't know how much I want to chase that move. Again, like these things are flying in and around here. Like the idea would have been to try and grab it to 23.2. I was on NVIDIA at the time, and NVIDIA is what we're in. Looking for 146. I feel like 146, that's where it tried to dip and hold the last time. So that on the way to VWAP, and then respect VWAP until proven otherwise here on NVIDIA. There's so much moving around in here today. I mean, I just see Adam Khalif in the chat saying CRM's a beast.
Shade.
CRM? I hope so, but I haven't even looked at that stock in a hot minute. I mean, with NVIDIA Day, it's hard to look at something like a CRM. I would have expected to be bleeding, so I'm glad to see it's up. But focus is on 46 here, needing to go on NVDA. It's still running into a lot of sellers on every pump.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to say just real quickly here before we go into trade the pool, that'll be in a couple seconds. I just want to tell you that Apple, I mean, oh boy, finally. I mean, there it is, man, 226. We had talked about this level. We had talked about those lows. The problem is it did run these very bottoms. It ran that 225.80. So we did get out of 75%. Then I put the order to punch back long through 226, which is why we have that 226.05. I don't have much here, but I think I need a haircut. 226.05. So that was a good move there, right back up to the upside. Now trying to go again. We'll see if it can break through that 227.50 area that we would like for it to get going. Their problem here is, look at what just happened to the futures. Run right back up into VWAP. That's a great look. If you're trading the futures into that short, this is part of the problem where you have opportunity cost, right? Because like I'm long right now, so I'm getting out at these areas when we start to rip up, right? You saw NVIDIA here. I don't know. Neil was talking, but as this was ripping up, that's 144.80, 145, 145.25. So like we are just getting them out as we started to run up into a great aggressive move, both in the futures and in Apple and all of that. But we are ready to and very excited to talk about Trade the Pool. Are you ready to put your trading skills to the test? Well, if you are, you can join Trade the Pool and Trader TV stock trading competition. There's some exciting prizes lined up, including an extra 160K bonus buying power valuation for first place. Not only that, there are 20 first place opportunities available. The competition kicks off December 2nd. You got 2 weeks and runs through December 6th. So it's that week, the first week in December. Whoever rocks it gets that win, gets the extra 160K in buying power, with winners announced that following Monday on December the 9th. So this competition is your opportunity to push your limits and see how far your skills can take you. get that in your calendar and click on that description below or on the screen, the QR code, and join us here at Trade the Pool with that comp. All right, I'm going to take it another piece. I mean, the market is coming out a little bit. I'm going to punch. Oh, that Apple, you tricky, man. I was just offering 10s, and then it fell down. Then I tried to punch a 1s. It fell down. So not like London Bridge, but this is falling down right now. There we go. We'll take it 0-1. Phil, come on. Just come back up and get us at 10s again. Right? I mean, that would be nice. We'll see if we can get that. So 227.10, just trying to get out at the 50-period moving average. Remember, we talked about this. If you ever have the bottom of the day, I feel like the best thing to do is wait for probably a third of it. If you can get a third out in and around the 50-period, if you can. And then, so I try to do like a third scalping based on like pressure and everything, and then a third out at whatever level looks to be good, and that's generally the 50-period. Then you try to look to get like a third out at VWAP, which is why I basically have nothing left, because a third scalping, a third for sort of the dream of 50-period, and then ultimately, this is why I looked at Obi the other day. I was like, are you sure Tesla's going to go up $8 all the way to VWAP? It eventually did, but that's where you try to hold. And you always try to do better on the holds, but it's tough, you know. But you try to hold that up to VWAP. So we'll see. Pretty much spilling down again here on NVIDIA.
Yeah, I just got out of NVIDIA, and the first time we'll be short on AMD. So NVIDIA, it tried to hold. It was doing a pretty decent job, but after breaking trend, red candle, and then topping tail candle as well, so tighter stop. AMD gave us a setup here similar. You got the trend down. It's not going to be VWAP, but it does do a reversal candle as well. So I just shorted it right here underneath the 137. I'll give it to the local high. I mean, I'm still feeling like NVIDIA has a chance to bounce, but at this point, I'm going to take some pot shots here at AMD if we can. The other thing worth looking at here is Google is trying to catch a bid. Now, when I looked at the daily chart and we zoomed out, I was like looking at that 200-period moving average. Alphabet catching a bid would be great for the overall market. I think that gives you some more cover in things like Amazon and maybe Apple to try to catch a little bit of a bid there. And shout out to Eric in the chat for pointing this one out. You're actually at VWAP on Tesla here. So Tesla's got something, it's got some strength. Got to respect that. There's some strength here in Tesla. I was looking only for breakouts, but if it can continue to hold on, this might not be too bad overall there on Tesla. So I got out tight on NVIDIA, but I feel like sticking with my style of trading on a day like today, like my style of trading is going to bode pretty well because I like to have those tight stops and then hold if you're able to get a good move. And that's worked so far. So I don't want to stray from it here. So I'm going to just jump out of NVIDIA and AMD. Like I said, both tight stops. And now we got to look at the small cap recap with Adara. Let's be honest with you, I haven't looked at a single small cap today, unless you're counting some of the Bitcoin adjacent names.
To the
So many smaller names to look at here. We're going to start here with IWM, which is basically doing the opposite of what we're seeing here with that weakness in S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. Currently here, we have the Russell 2000, not only near day's highs, but actually up here about 1%. We do have a bit of a double bottom on this 15-minute chart back on Tuesday around that 226 level. Since then, we've had basically declining slightly higher lows throughout the last few days here. So nice look on that 15-minute chart for the Russell as it breaks 223. Lemonade here is the first name on the list, LMND. This is not necessarily a small cap. It's about a $3.7 billion market cap. But I want to talk about this one because we've been strong here over the last few days. If you look at this daily chart, we had that gap up on Tuesday with Investor Day, and we've had these moves higher ever since. Right now, LMND, which has a 30.5% short float, moving higher here with Piper Sandler raising its price target in the stock from $25 to $44. So great look for Lemonade. Then we have Cerence here, CRNC. This one has run in the past here. This is a day two earnings play for CRNC, which does have here 16.5% short float, beating on EPS and sales estimates, and a bit of a weaker guidance actually, but clearly we have traders being a fan of that report. Last but not least, QUBT. This one has moved a lot here over the past few weeks. Lots of strength in the quantum space. Yesterday, though, Quantum Computing announces they've got their second purchase order for its photonic chip foundry. Their first purchase order was announced last week, so continued strength there in that quantum chip space for QUBT, guys.
It's always this way, isn't it? Sometimes it is what it is. Like I told you, like my style of trade, I'm usually going to try and get in with a particular execution plan and maybe have a tighter stop than normal. Well, I got top wicked on AMD. And then when I try to get, like when the bid is being dropped today, the best way to explain, like if you've got a level 2 up and you're watching AMD or NVIDIA, essentially when it does a curl, like you're seeing evaporation in the bid. All of a sudden, like you'll stack up offer, everything on here is like 1 or 2 levels, and you'll only see 100 shares, and then it's just all gone. And if you're trying to get short in that moment, like you're chasing a move. So when I got wicked out at 137.20 and NVIDIA took the low again, I was trying to short it back here in the 90s, in the high 90s back through 137, and there was nothing until 75. And that's when the even dollar broke to the downside. That is what is happening on the bid at some of these key levels. So unfortunately, that's not a great re-entry trade on AMD, and even then it was for half of what I had the first time. So you're still flushing into the downside. The Nasdaq's back at 20,600, and we're still headed lower. The market doesn't like it, and I feel like we got some you almost had a perfect storm. You had Bitcoin, didn't get to 100,000. You had 150, failed. I mean, it was not a failed break, but it came back under 150 on NVIDIA. Then you had MSTR pull back heavily, which brought a lot of the crypto adjacent names. And when you get all that together, suddenly not looking too good in the overall market. Even Tesla, I would fear, is not going to be able to do much. Like it was holding VWAP, but now you're back underneath. If we were going to bounce, Tesla was making higher lows. I'm not even sure about that one anymore. So AMD will short the next available pop. I think 135 is going to come into play for those. Oh, and I forgot, Adam DeLuz. I don't know if you're watching, Adam. I see you in the chat. I did look at AMD. We were talking about AMD for the long term. I'm sticking with my thesis that I don't like them, and I'm not getting in until it breaks the channel up. I don't want to play this one off of any kind of a support unless it's like wipeout bottoms at 120 bucks. Like I just rather go the support resistance. So my overall on AMD is this channel that it's been putting in recently to the downside. If we come back to the daily chart, I want it closing above that channel, and then I'm willing to engage the long. So wipeout bottom or something along those lines for myself.
Okay, so just real quick here. We did reload NVIDIA a little bit here at one. So we got out like as soon as it broke that low. So we don't wind up really taking any hits on that reload. We wind up getting pretty much, we talked about it. We only got it about a third there. Or no, actually that was Apple. So it's at NVIDIA right now. Apple's giving us a fall down area as well to potentially reload. So guess what we did? We did reload, and we'll hold out hope that maybe Apple can get back up to the upside, but I don't know, like we just took some more there at 05 and went up to 20 and we didn't get anything out. So let's wait to see if it does make that move back up to the upside right now, trying to drop out. I was giving this name, again, just like 225.50, 225.60 as the out there. So that bottom right there is 225.75. As we had mentioned that, hey, maybe nothing happens in the NASDAQ until, so this is why we're not like piling into any of these reloads. Maybe nothing happens until 20,500. Where we had that huge bounce yesterday. So we already saw this yesterday. It just started from a little shallower and it wound it up a little deeper. So right now you're starting a little bit higher. So maybe we wind up around here somewhere, but the continuation is actually happening right in front of us. It's a 30-minute chart. It looks like it's extending even more now. So there goes Apple breaking through 225. So again, not like super strong on these reloads, but trying it down here as maybe we're getting to a point where we could see some of the pressure relieve a little bit. But yeah, man, we are really starting to come in on these futures. Yeah, Bitcoin 96.5, right? So maybe there's something possible there.
Yeah, I think what's happening, look, Bitcoin's holding up pretty well. So I like the fact that Bitcoin's holding 96.5, but that's support. MSTR just made another fresh low and continues to drop like a rock. But it's, like this would be normally like an Alamo type level, but I feel like defending the bid on MSTR is not the best idea. This is 460, and if it loses 460, it's in a world of hurt. Starting to think about, I mean, goodness, Coinbase. In your head, you're always like, oh, I was thinking about taking profit on this and that, and you can say that and wax poetic, but 300 just came down and lost on Coinbase. If I have to pick one for an SSR bounce, it'll be Coin. Because if Coinbase gets down 10%, it'll be at 288 that it does it. And that will at least be out in front of a support level. And Coinbase, I think, may be a little bit more stable of a stock in the crypto space than an MSTR in a broader sense. So Coinbase is the one I'm watching for it to get, if it gets 10% down, for a mean reversion play. I don't care what MSTR does. I just don't, like the bid doesn't look very healthy on it, and I don't really like any of the support. AMD, I think, is headed for the 135 on the daily. Not rocket science. It's in a consolidation on the daily chart, and 135 is essentially yesterday's low. So if it bounces there, I'm out of the short. If it just flushes right through, you got 134, which is a local bottom from last week. But unfortunately, like I said, I couldn't even get the shares I wanted when it flushed back through 137. The bid just dropping really fast. Like if you're watching NVIDIA or the futures and then you see AMD, it's like, okay, let's go short. The moment's gone.
Yeah, you are really starting to break down here on NVIDIA as well.
Nasty.
The AMD was a good call for sure. But yeah, the market, I mean, the market's making these lows. So unfortunately, it's time to tap out, I think, of trying to keep catching everything. Apple right now is 225.80. It looks like it wants to keep going to the downside. It's this, you know, we're able to get it back on Apple. We didn't make everything back, obviously, on that name because it just didn't continue upside. But we talked about it. Get a third out there, get a third out there. So we reload it right now. It just, yeah, it's a little depressing because not working out, right? I mean, these reloads are not working out. And I just think there's a lot of traders trapped. So the best question was already answered, and we should have dealt with it more seriously, is like, why are we just not short then on NVIDIA? And I think that's just, it's, yeah, one of those things where you get caught, sort of not caught in the moment, but just caught like, yeah, you know what, like I like the stock. I think that it's too oversold. And, you just get into that mentality of trading the same names over and over again and just seeing the potential for these names to sort of do basically what they're doing right now, rally right back up. But the more rallies that come to the upside there, the more I realize that, like, sure, we're rallying upside, but these are just covering up some of these dramatic drops that we've already seen. Like if you are short, then these little retracements up are just great areas to get shorter. Like you could be faded. See, like right there. Like I'm so happy that it's going back up, see, and then we get out. So like I just was able to get some out there. You saw me hitting the keys, but at the end of the day, we have to tap out because there, bless you, there's the reload on NVIDIA. There's some outs up into the 70s, and then now it's down another $1 as NVIDIA is going to take 140 right now. So
140.
Yeah, like it's, so that's it. We keep on catching it, and at the end of the day, it just catches us because it just keeps on going back down. So we got out of 75% of it. I mean, maybe we'll just give this to the 140, but at the end of the day, man, all these pops keep getting faded, and it's very, very obvious. So we'll just now sit on our hands, and let's just see where we can go now. Let's get back up to the up. Yeah, exactly. Stair stepping down. It's just boom, boom. And look, it's fine. Here's the longs. Here's some outs. Here's the long. Here's some outs. But at the end of the day, it keeps cracking lower, and it's stopping us out. So yeah, just frustrating there. I think Google, like look at NVIDIA now goes, okay, that's why we only get out of half or 75% of it, hold a little bit. Now Walmart's starting to work, so we can do a little bit on this one. Again, it's not, we kind of ho-hummed it because it's not a huge position, but we could take something out here at 20s. Why not do that if we can get that back into the high of the day? There it goes. We like that 180, that 88 level there. It did dip down 20 cents against us, so let's make sure that we execute out. There we go, we get the fill at 20s. Now we'll execute something out at 20 for the same sort of risk association there. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably just hold NVIDIA now for the rest, but it's been a disaster. So
trade forever.
Yeah, go.
AMD just, I mean, whatever. I'm out of AMD. Maybe it goes further to the downside. But Adam just said in the chat, stick to your plan. So sticking to the plan. 135 was the target. It did a bottoming tail candle at 135, so I got out. But I'm telling you, like, it's, like Sean was saying, like, you got to, like, to get into the short when you're chasing it, it was so much easier when it was going up. Like the only time, like, I got a third of what I wanted on the way down and had to chase it. On the green candle to get into the short, it's like, yeah, you can get all the fills that you want, and that's where you had to be so sure that you wanted. I went with a tight stop. I got back in when it broke back down underneath that candle, but again, the bid is evaporating really quickly. With this type of a move, I want to play very, very patiently, look for specific setups. I'm going to hunt for things that might be down 10% that could give me that reversion trade. NVIDIA 140 is one that could be in play. I said 143 and 140. And the 143 didn't even set up that well. Like I took the trade and got a bad price on the reversion. I think 140 is the next one as we're going to the desk. Adara.
Oh, now you're $1 in the money.
We're going to start today's crypto update by talking about MSTR because MicroStrategy here not only down about 7%, but actually taking out all of yesterday's price action to the upside. Currently around yesterday's opening price of 439. Basically what happened here was around 943. So as we chop and churn around pre-market support at 532, we get a short report on MSTR here from Citron Research. Citron Research actually pointing out initially they were very bullish on MSTR, but saying that the stock has been far too strong and its volume is actually outperforming the fundamentals at Bitcoin at this point. So due to that, I guess, separation between MSTR's performance and that of Bitcoin, they are now going to be hedging here with a MSTR short. So Citron Research short report in MSTR as this continues to make new day's lows now below yesterday's opening price here. So what a move to the downside for MicroStrategy. We also have Bitcoin here, BTC. Look at this push to the upside. Bit of a topping tail candle here below new highs of around that 98.3 area right now here, trying to hold on to 96,000. But we know Bitcoin's been really strong since the election of Donald Trump earlier this month. And actually some talks here that Donald Trump's going to be establishing a crypto position with Brian Armstrong of Coinbase being floated around here as the potential crypto czar, for lack of a better term. We do have Bitcoin still up on the day here, as is Ethereum. Pretty strong here at its highs earlier today. I believe it was around 3,300. Now pulling back a bit around 3,250, but still up about 5%. Solana up here about 2.5%, but lots of weakness in some of these other names. XRP and Dogecoin both to the downside. Cardano down about 7.5%. So mixed performances and strong upside or downside, depending on what you're looking at in this crypto space, guys. Also worth noting, TDG apparently TransDime getting a short report from the bear cave. So keep an eye on TDG, guys.
Yeah, so Mary S. Lyman's in the chat there. Shout out to you for mentioning MSTR to the short side. 125, well, maybe 120 from top to bottom. The move there on SMCI or MSTR to the downside is it's just still bleeding. It's trying to catch a little bit of a bid right now. As I said, I'm out of the last position that we had on that I had on there, which was AMD. Still going to try to be a little more patient on NVIDIA. The other way this could play is, obviously, if it doesn't get to 140, maybe there's some kind of a rounded bottom setup where NVIDIA makes a bottom, puts in a higher low. You can get a dip into the prior higher low or a hold of, VWAP, you can forget about that, but a hold of the higher low and a consolidation. That's the type of setup I got to wait for. Like, you're at 1030, so you got to be very patient. But what you can do in a situation like this is scan for opportunities. And if you're scanning for opportunities, you want the best tools available to give them to you. That's what eSignal is all about. You're talking about the best charting platform out there in the business. It's a professional one with reliable data, access to every single market, every single study, every single gateway you could imagine you want to analyze. You've got Tick Replay, which is a fantastic tool to see, hey, what did it look like in NVIDIA when that 150 broke? Where should I have been taking my fills? So the next time, where should I hold for that first move? How much should I hold for the next 5 or 10 seconds? That's the kind of thing you can do. Are you going to back test some strategies, mean reversions, moving average acrosses? That's what it's there for. Back test, forward test, so you can trade smarter with elite tools that are reliable. That's the key thing. Every single day, both are going to be up on eSignal. They always are, and it's a very reliable platform, a very professional platform. And again, charts are your eyes to the market, so you want to make sure you have the best so that you can execute in the best way possible. Used for a long time by a lot of traders that I know and continue to use. Sean use them every single day. Well, every single day the market is open for the last 20 years or so. So shout out to eSignal. We appreciate them. This market is nuts. Barry just said MSTR close. I'm assuming you mean you covered a short, maybe? If you were closing a short, congratulations. That is a heavy move down on MSTR. I'm at the point now where
it's a great play.
I'm starting to look for some long setups in here. Okay. Coin's not quite at 10%. It's at 8.5. Might not get there. I don't know about Mara at this point. The other one to watch out for here is Tesla, which, Tesla only recently got to the low, and I hesitate to say only down 1.5%, but it hasn't broken support from the last couple of days in the mid-330s on Tesla. So at least it's got something going for it down there. Oh, and Snowflake is the other one before I throw it back to Sean. Snowflake eventually pulled back, and once again, the buyers just said, yeah, we're not going down past 166. It can't even break VWAP. This thing is an absolute rocket, and that 170 continues to be resistance. Triple top at 170. If this thing breaks, could it really go 40% today? Maybe. This thing is wild.
Man. Yeah, no, this market, honestly, today, it's like, oh. All right, so we fight the demons again in Apple, and I mean, and now it's starting to go back up to the upside. You know what's been working out for us? Walmart. We got a great fill there at 25s as well. So this has been another good trade for us. Today we've had BTC on here as a watch, and unfortunately, Bitcoin is falling in real nice right now. As we just had that update from Madeira, some of the major names, the top 10 coins. We got Cardano to the downside a little bit there. We had Dogecoin to the downside, Bitcoin obviously to the downside. It looks like we got a good fill there at 33.50 on some Ethereum, but again, we got out of like 5%. Like I'm not even sure the percentage points we got out, but just a little piece there. I'm feeling like maybe, again, we'll talk about Bitcoin when we get back, but let's start to look at maybe some levels that we can think about buying some of this on the dip, and we'll look at, you know, maybe the coin itself. But for right now, we do have $1.15 in the money on NVIDIA to the downside there as it keeps on going. I mean, it is to the downside. We're long. But we're going to wait to see. My next order is going to be at 144 to see if we can get that VWAP, and then why not, or sorry, the 50 period, and then why not VWAP 146? Why not us, you know? Maybe we can get that going. And then another play right here, Apple off the 50 period. I like that retracement a little bit better. Okay, it's 1040. Adara, she's got on a little bit of green today. Let's see if the market wants to play a little bit of catch up, down 1% over to the screen.
What's interesting here is beside these larger market cap names here, there's actually a lot of strength in a lot of these sectors. Finance, almost green here across the board. Producer manufacturing, very strong here. We did have DE, John Deere, with their earnings this morning, well received. Consumer non-durables, pretty strong. Utilities looking great. Transportation, generally a pretty good look. And retail trade, with the exception of its one Mag 7 component, Amazon, nicely to the upside. So let's talk about some of these larger market cap names. Eli Lilly, TSLA, AMZN, META, Microsoft, Google, NVIDIA, Apple, all of these larger constituents here, all sharply to the downside, especially if you take a look at the technology services sector. We have Meta and Google, basically the only really strong underperformers in this group. CRM strong, INTU strong ahead of its earnings tonight. Oracle to the upside as well. Now, electronic technology is a bit of a different picture because there's going to be a lot of more sector-wide weakness. NVIDIA pretty volatile on earnings day one. Boeing down about 3% here. The FAA had saying that he's going to be meeting with new CEO Kelly Ortberg in Seattle, so keep an eye on BA. Other than that, though, some of these smaller components in tech are strong. So really what you get here when you look at the sector board is a clear picture of how the larger components maybe not telling the story of the rest of the market, which is mostly pushing to the upside. Make sure that you like and subscribe today, guys.
Thank you very much, Adair. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. And I'll tell you right now, that's a great look on John Deere. I mean, you know, when the market's doing this, sometimes you just got to take a look at a chart that'll make you smile, which is breaking out on the daily. So it's a great stock reporting this morning, up 5.5 points. You're not going to see like what's up right now. Snowflake and Deere, and then like maybe some things in other sectors. I actually think Deere is a tech stock, but that's just me. I think Caterpillar is a tech stock too in a lot of ways. I'm noticing SMCI. I'm looking at a lot of things in here. SMCI, as we're scanning for things that haven't broken the low, it's still up 4.5 points. The market bounces from here. This is SSR from yesterday. It's short sell restricted, so it is a bounce play. I do like the setup. It does have a potential channel break if it can get back above VWAP. Coinbase seems like it's starting to catch a bit. It just wicked the 290. It didn't quite, I don't know if I had it getting to SSR. I think it just got to SSR barely, and then just wicked that 290 level. So you could have a bit of a mean reversion setting up here on Coinbase. So just sort of connecting the dots from the last move to the downside, if it can close above 292 and hold above here, I would look for the mean revert on Coin. I mean, it's been such a bleed. There's so many things, obviously, that have taken some pressure. But I like the fact that SMCI really didn't even drop as far as some of the other names. Looks like it was a good out on AMD. But time to look for some patient longs. I want that VWAP on SMCI, and I want Coinbase closing above trend line bottom here from that 305 flush.
Okay. Yeah, so far so good on some of these moves into the back end of the trade, right? I mean, there goes Apple again. I mean, I'll just keep on doing this because we're just reloading it. You know, I mean, we got that Apple back at 226. It was one of the trades that we had talked about that we had liked coming back in for us. So there goes Apple, came right back into 226. And I mean, it was I mean, we had to do it there. So right there, now we're $1 in the money on Apple. We're $2 in the money right now on NVIDIA. I'm going to scratch that itch right here and get another piece out on NVIDIA. You got to take the $2 when it's there. It just bounced off 141, so that's where we're long. Let's just keep going. Well, it's $1.70, sorry, not $2. We're long at 141.30, and that came pretty close to that 50 period, 143.48. That's actually where we're sitting. We're sitting at 143.75, so that has come in just a little bit. Let me adjust and put it right where that 50, so right where this 50 period moving average is. Again, it's sloping down quite fast, right? I mean, every minute you're going to get a different angle, and it's going to keep getting lower. So that's basically at 40s. So let's just put an order at 30s. We'll get out of another three. All right, let's try 10% at the 50 period moving average. I was going to say let's get it at 30%, but normally we get out of a third when it gets to 50 period moving average, but we did clear out of a little bit here for the dollar, for the straight dollar. So we'll wait to see if we can get that bump up, which would be pretty sweet if we could get that. All right, Apple, we only have 15 minutes left. Again, thank you so much for joining us one more time here today. It was absolutely, what a fantastic opportunity. I went to this, I went to this crazy Christmas. I'll have to put it up on. Christmas. Yeah. So I went to this Christmas walkthrough yesterday here, but I have to. There was one that I wanted to show you. I'm going to get it up so we could do it. But here, this is what it was yesterday. I don't know how to big screen this. It was just basically we're walking around. It's an outdoor. It's in Mississauga somewhere. My wife got invited there. It just opened yesterday, and there's like, anyways, it's just going on repeat. It's pretty stupid, this one. But there's about 10 or so different light installments, kind of. And there was one that I want to show you. So there was like a fall one. There was like a Europe one where it's like it's all Christmas in Europe. We did the carousels. And it's just a light it's called Illumi. And it's pretty cool. So if you go over to, anyways, they're not sponsoring anything here or anything. We just went there. And it was a lot of fun.
I love that kind of
Yeah, and it was just, probably takes about 30 minutes or so of walking. We brought my parents as well. Happy birthday. It was my father's birthday yesterday.
It's George's birthday?
Yes. So
happy birthday, George.
Yeah, he turned 50.
Not watching. Well, I mean, if you're 25, obviously.
Yeah. So happy birthday, Dad, to that one. And then we went there and we had a great time. So a little bit of walking around there, a little bit actually. Then it started pouring rain. So we got about like 75% of the way done.
Yo, there was a lightning.
Then the rain came.
Dude, there was a week. My daughter came back from Ninja Parkour last night.
Yeah.
There was a lightning strike.
See if I can upload this.
That sucker was so close to our house. Like everybody, I'm telling you, everyone was like, "What?" Ran to the house, freaking out. I'm like, "Whoa, it's as close as I've ever been to a lightning strike in terms of feel. Like you didn't see where it came down, but I'm like, that sucker was close." Anyways, it is what it is. But I absolutely love the Christmas stuff. My neighborhood's doing their Christmas thing on Saturday or Sunday. I think it's probably Sunday this week. It feels like it's too early to get in.
It does feel way too early.
It isn't though. We're in the back half of November, right? Like U.S. Thanksgiving, that's when you got to do it. Hopefully the market's going to do it here, because if it's not a bottom now, then I don't know where the bottom's going to be. So Coinbase on the mean revert. I got it what I thought was back through 94. I ended up with like 93, 99. So whatever. I guess in the moment that it was breaking, 94s, there was still some fills underneath. I tried to get some lower. Here, just come to the chart for a second. I tried to get some a little bit lower when it closed the candle above. There was a wick down initially to 93. I didn't get the 93. I'm just leaving the order in there. VWAP is $15 away on Coinbase. Prior resistance is at 95.8, which is essentially like 96.
Oh, it's your birthday walk.
So obviously, they're giving it a little bit more room. Like I'm giving this a couple of bucks, and I'm trying to add at the 93 level and see if we can get to that upside. And then Sebastian said, only if you dress up as Santa Claus. Somebody should dress up as Santa Claus around here.
Yeah, you know what? Ashraf is going to. He said already.
Oh, I got whatever. I have a hat. I'll come in. We're not. The market's not open, but I mean, I'm sure the day before, it's a half day on Christmas Eve. Yeah, I got a Santa hat.
I've seen a hat. That's not really dressing up as.
No, but I don't have a costume.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I'm not buying a Santa costume for the show, but I have a hat that I can bring in if I can find it, and we'll do some fun stuff like that. But
yeah, we definitely have a Santa hat.
Hopefully, we got a bottom here in Coinbase.
Okay, so if everybody goes over to Twitter at TraderTV, Sean, I'm going to show it to Neil in just a couple seconds right here. I just want to go over a few things. So that just went to 144. So face slapper. there on NVIDIA. So we'll take a piece out there as it rips all the way to that north side there. So that's going to be $3. That was a good one. Let's see if it can continue to go as well. And then we'll get a little bit of a face slapper with Apple. Apple now $1.20 in right now. Okay. So, Neil, do not look over here. Just keep on looking at your screens. I want to get something prepared for you.
Right.
Just got to make sure that this is good to go. Okay, how do I, oopsies. No, do not look, do not look, do not look.
I know.
Okay, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. It's going to be live in 1 second. All right, can we get volume on this, or is there any way to do that? No. Okay, hold on a second. This is going to be on my, you can see what it is a little bit right now, all right? Just a little, this is called tease, okay? So I'm going to send it over to the guys, and we're going to get it up. You don't have to worry about it now, Neil. All right, so I'm going to send it over to the team. What, just email it to one of you? I'll airdrop it, but then I need to, oh yeah, here. All right, figure it out. I'll be right back.
Okay, so while they're figuring it out, we'll have some fun there. The bounce is definitely on. Okay. We're going to go to Money Talks with Adara. Mean reversion's also setting up on, SMCI. So I'm now into SMCI, and we're going to Money Talks. How's that USD doing, Adara?
Another nice day of upside here for the DXY. Yesterday, we did something pretty cool here around that 106.20 area. Bouncing beautifully, though there was a bit of a topping tail candle, but notably bouncing here off of that resistance in mid-June 2024. So looks like some continued strength for the DXY on a day full of economic data. We did get initial jobless claims here a bit lower than expected, 213,000 versus 220,000 expected. Also at 8:30, we got Philly Fed manufacturing, negative 5.5 versus 6.3 expected and 10.3 prior. So coming in quite a bit lower here than the estimate and the previous print for that Philly Fed data. We also have Fed's comments on watch here today. Fed's Hammock already spoke at 8:45, not seeing any comments coming through from that speech. But then we have Fed's Goolsbee at 12:25, who we know can and has moved the market. Then 12:30, so right after Goolsbee, we'll get Fed's Hammock once again. And then at 4:40, so after the close, comments from Fed's Bards. Also worth noting here, we have at 1 p.m. the 10-year tips auction. So keep an eye on that auction. Sometimes these 1 p.m. auctions can make the market make some moves, guys.
We can make some moves. Fed's Hammock. Beth Hammock. So, as I said, just before we went to Adara there, SMCI held above VWAP. It also kind of, I mean, if you connect some of the dots there, was trying to break a bit of a trend. But as soon as you get in, starts to tick back down underneath. They cannot hold on to 27. Going to have to jump out of that because the market has been trending down overall. The NASDAQ's making a nice bounce here. Wanted to go back over and quickly show you Tesla. I mean, Tesla got to 335, and wow, that was some level at 335. Just a little bit further, and it could have gotten to support at that 334. AMD, I know it was said, why didn't you go long 135 on AMD? Didn't really have a setup on it. It's like everything else. Like, it was underneath that support. I zoomed it out and was just looking for it to get down a little closer to the prior bottoms at underneath 134. So a little bit further down, I probably would have been able to pull the trigger. But so far things have been working, and I didn't want to stray from anything that wasn't part of the execution plan. Lexter, this is the second time you've asked about NNE, Nano Nuclear, which great stock. Look, the nuclear names have all been fantastic. I'm glad to see that on a day like today, NNE is going parabolic. 21%, it's not just Snowflake, 21% and about to go ham if it can take out 28 on the daily chart. So obviously a good look for NNE. The one that I am in is SMR, load, PC load letter, which is obviously not having the same kind of move. They've already reported, still on an upward trend, but it's NNE's day today. No question, Nano Nuclear is doing a fantastic job. And yes, that 28 level looks fantastic on the daily. Hard to like breakouts today, to be honest with you, when something is that extended. But I kind of felt the same way about Snowflake and probably should have just been long Snowflake at every single stop. Took one short and it worked, but the long had been better the entire way. So coin, I guess when I refreshed the chart, the trend line's gone, but it had already closed above the trend line. If it loses this bottoming wick candle, the open on that candle was 91.5. The support was 91.5. We lose 91.5, I'm out of that trade. Plain and simple. Like I said, I'm giving it about $2 because there's a ton of room in here to VWAP, and it's a $300 stock.
Ramin, you know I'm all about content, Ramin. All right, so she just got it, so she's gonna put that up in just a couple of seconds. It's ready with the volume. But can Neil hear it? We need to put it here on the show. Okay. Okay, go. No.
Oh, come on.
Come on, Ramin. That's not the right. There's a video, but now it's already ruined. So I knew I should have just done it myself. Okay, here we go. Oh no, Neil, this is super scary for you.
Why would anyone even do that?
Okay, look at the size of those, Neil. Oh no, Neil. I'm always thinking about you.
I appreciate it.
One more time. Look at those spiders.
I mean,
Neil.
but why would anybody do that?
Look at those spiders.
No.
Those are real, by the way. There we go.
Christmas is for the kids, everybody. Why would you put up spiders as decoration? That's a Halloween thing. I'm just saying. That's not right.
I think there was a Halloween thing there as well. I think that's why. I think they just got lazy and they like kept some Halloween things up.
Yeah.
That's my guess right there.
My wife insists on a gigantic spider on our front lawn, which I tolerate because my daughter's okay with it.
Right.
You know, like it. Look,
that was all right.
A happy marriage is all about compromise. And it's so big that it's like, whatever. But why you got to do that, man?
There we go.
What you got?
People like the last part. Okay, there it is. Great video. Okay, so go over.
It was great.
Go over to @TraderTV Sean if you want to scare all of your friends with that video. You can go over there and have a.
Or probably just me.
Andy again? No. Okay. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. All right. Meanwhile, you know it's a lot of. I mean, we're having a great time because they were on the show, and the show has been great, and it's been very, very good. Like baseball had been very, very good to me. NVIDIA so far, nice move back upside. Now $3 in the money, $1 and $2 and $3 into the money as we get the professor and Stone Cold Joe Austin over there getting ready to go through as well. There's 144, a nice move right there for NVIDIA. Let's start to clean up some. The good thing about this one is we didn't really get out of anything. We got out of a little bit there at 141 on that break, but then there's the buyback coming back in. Nice move there for NVIDIA, needless to say. And then Apple, trying to prepare that video, we almost missed it. Apple right there. Oh, do not retrace off me, my guy. All right, I'm just going to punch. Okay. Excuse me. We got some 58s there and some 55s. So we actually get out of twice there. Didn't mean to get out of both. Was unable to cancel it. Nice move back. I mean, we'll get out at VWAP early day right now. So we have in the money right now, $5. We also have, hey man, this guy's only trading tech names. Really? Check out this Walmart play. Walmart was on the sticky note today, and it was a pretty good one. There goes Walmart right back up to the upside again. What did we talk about Walmart? Pretty simple stuff, man. We bought that 88 break right there. We had it come through. And again, if you're going to go, obviously you're going to go on my Twitter now to see this amazing video again there. Neil, do not look. I mean, it's about to be very, very super scary again. Do not look, Neil.
I know.
Do not look.
I look.
Right there. But if you go down here and you go over to, there we go. Yeah, that was scary. If you do come over here, you do see Walmart right there, 88 break. What I said was we had that support yesterday of 86. It's a day 3 play, but then it was the target issues yesterday that we were really impressed with. I mean, the fact that they bounced off of that level, that target was down 100, down to 120 yesterday and down 20-something% at the lows, and Walmart held. I really like that level. It didn't get to 86. If we were on it instead of NVIDIA, and again, this is part of the cost of doing business, is missing trades that you like. But we just kept that 88 in there. And again, when we had punched in, it wasn't a huge amount of shares. It never was a huge amount of shares. But that play was nice. We probably should have reloaded it right there at 88. I like 88 for longer play here. And in fact, it's now 50 cents, 42 cents in the money right now for Walmart. And you know what? I'm going to take a piece out there at 43. We'll sit there and take that. My next out is 88.85. I want to get out a little bit in front of 89. I wrote down here while it's on the sticky note that the magnet is 90. So we're trying to get up to that and see if we can hit it. But right now, $2 right now in the money on Apple. Let's take another piece out. I feel like we should do that. You get the bottom to there, to there, to there. Stair stepping on the way down, climbing on the way back. And I made that joke. I was not a joke, but I was like, Adair was wearing green. All right. The market was getting hit down there, down 0.8. Since the market realized what color Adair is wearing, we are now almost back to flat right now on the market, only down 1/4 of a point. So $3 in the money on NVIDIA, $2.50 in the money on Apple, 50 cents in the money on Walmart. That's $6 in the money total on all these positions. So we're doing pretty good, but I got a frog in my throat.
Sometimes it happens when there's a lot of talking, which is what we try to do every single day. Look, the market is going absolutely wild. The other thing it's trying to go back to green, which, believe it or not, is the last thing you would have expected to, is MSTR. Now a third of 1% from green on the session. So that bounce is real. We did get Coinbase. It got the push back into 296. I'm going to respect the prior low. I think this area is a stopping zone, 302 to 305. It just flashes in there. I want to get some out. I'm not trailing it back to the 296 yet. If it takes out 98, that's going to be the play. And I'm going to be watching MSTR very closely, more so than Bitcoin, because if MSTR starts to give it back up, I feel like Coinbase is going to lose a bit quickly. SMCI off of VWAP with a hold. It got from 40s to 60s, but now starting to slow down. Oddly enough, SMCI has not been that volatile today relative to everything else in the market. So, I guess that can be a good thing, but the Nasdaq's do VWAP, and this has been holding strength, and it's SSR, so I'm still thinking it can press back into the 28 level and get to the top. Sebastian and a few other traders are saying, and Ryan are both saying, look at SOUN. We got to go to the midday here, guys. So in just a minute or two, I don't mind looking at this bad boy. Obviously, usually attached to goodness in NVIDIA, the V-shaped recovery is real on this too. So when we catch a bid, outside move in some of those small cappers, probably put this one on the radar there, Sharif. I know you like some of these small cappers. That SOUN looking like it's very good. So right now, coins 4 in the money. We break 98, and I'm trailing it back to 97.5. SMCI a little bit more muted, and this SOUN does look spicy, but I got to zoom out and see what this looks like on the daily chart because I haven't done any work on this. Let's get it on over to the mid possible 15, 20 minutes ago, but we're here now. Let's send it on over to we got Joe, we got Sharif, and we got Midday Madness. Not anymore.
How to trade. What is up?